Hello and welcome to another episode of Do Go On. My name is Dave Warnocky, and as always, I'm here with Jess Perkins and Matt Stewart.
Hello, Dave. Hello, Matt.
Hello, Dave. Hello, Jess. What a pleasure to be here inside the podcast.
Yeah.
And inside your ears, listeners.
Yeah.
And we can't get out.
I'm in your phone. I'm in there.
Let
I'm
me
trapped
out.
in
I'm
your
cursed.
phone. Until I make amends with all the people I've heard, I'm trapped in your phone.
I'm playing Bejeweled.
And I know what you're Googling. And it is yuck.
It is hard to make it up to people I've wronged from inside your phone.
Yeah, it's not the best position to be in terms of making it up to people I've wronged, of which there are many.
Yeah, it only happens occasionally. You'll leave me
Yeah.
at a place of a person I've wronged.
Yeah.
And I vibrate.
And I get...
Positive vibes.
And then and they don't pick up and talk to me, but when you come back to the table, they're like, "Oop, someone's popular," and it's no, they're not popular.
You're yelling that out. Why is your phone accusing you of not being popular?
This is the phone of a loser. Help me, I'm trapped. I say.
And they say, what a hilarious ringtone.
This is my curse.
Are you calling the listeners losers?
Only the one whose phone I'm stuck in.
Oh, okay. So whoever's listening right now.
Yes.
Well, you're the only one listening. That's sad for you and us.
Yeah, when there's more people doing the podcast and listening to it, there's a ratio there.
Yeah.
If we had 3 listeners,
We'd be all right.
That's
We'd have
okay.
one each.
Yeah, mine's Jeremy.
4, now we're cooking.
Yeah.
But 2 or 1,
Oh boy, it's not good for us.
we've really got to push those socials.
Yeah.
Retweet, tell a friend.
3 retweets. Wow, they all liked it.
That is a good ratio. But Dave, I know you are better than anyone to explain how this podcast works.
Well, because I think probably I hold the record for explaining it more than anyone else, but also being the worst at explaining it. So
I disagree.
Someone who's just been listening back from the start said you were pretty good at explaining it early.
Oh, I lost my way.
At some point you've lost
You've
your way.
gotten shitter.
Well, let me take you back to the start and tell you that what we do here is we take it in turns to report on a topic often suggested to us by a listener. Anyone can suggest a topic and we usually give them a shout out. One of us takes that topic, goes away, does a bit of research, brings it back, and then starts the report with a question because the other two have no idea what the topic's going to be. Matt, you're in the big boy chair.
I am, and I'm going to ask a question. Here it is. Which 2 sports did Darren Barnett, Matt McBriar, Sav Rocker, and Ben Graham play? They all famously played 2 different sports at the highest or at a high level.
Definitely, the only name I really recognise there is Sav Rocker, and I think that he's a big booter of the AFL.
Yes.
Aussie rules.
So what else?
And then maybe was he the one that they got over and said, "Hey, why don't you boot this NFL ball?"
That is
right?
correct. They all played Australian and American football.
Who are the other 3 names?
Oh, so it was Darren Barnett. He's probably the most successful to cross over. He's in like the Chargers Hall of Fame now. He also played 100 games in Australia in the AFL. Matt McBride didn't play in the AFL but went over and did really well for the Dallas Cowboys and a couple other teams. Sav Rocker, like you said, you've heard of him. He's famous over here. But he, after his career in the AFL, he went over and played a few years in the NFL with some success, as did Ben Graham. Ben Graham went over when he was 32. He basically played a whole career in the AFL and went over and did really well in the NFL. It's a hard game to learn late, but punters just have to kick it far and sort of accurate. That's their whole job.
How hard could it be?
Easy. I could do it in my sleep.
Get me in there.
Where do you want this ball? Can you tell me where you want it? Over there? Done.
How far?
How far? Yeah. What's my margin of error? None. All right.
Easy. Just like to know.
Just like to know so I can be better than the margin of error.
Because like
need.
If there was like a 5% margin, I'd do it. I'd stuff out 1 in 20 times, but I could do it right every time if I wanted.
Yeah, but I'm just wanting to seem more human.
Yeah.
You know, so people don't say I was photoshopped.
Yeah. Was that a robot? You got some sort of kicking machine over there?
No, I'm just a very good human. I've got a weird energy straight off the bat today, but I'm going to just ride it.
Well, this week's episode isn't about any of those people.
Okay.
Right.
But it's about the first man who did both, played at the highest level football in Australia and then in America. It's a story about an Australian who went to the US and gained fame as, quote, the greatest kicker who ever wore a shoe in America.
Okay, what about the shoeless kickers?
Yeah, well, that's a different,
So
whole
like
different kettle of
a
fish.
Bruce Lee or something, like
Yeah.
kicking the shit out of someone with barefoot.
Okay.
Yeah, don't try and compare the two. Apples and oranges,
Yeah.
mate. Before he mysteriously disappeared. This is the story of Pat O'Day, the Kangaroo Kicker.
Oh! Does that mean he played for the Kangaroos, or did he kick kangaroos?
That was his nickname in America.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
This guy
They're
kicks
like,
kangaroos!
Australia, what do we know about him? Kangaroos, boomerangs, Crocodile Dundee. G'day, mate.
That would have been well ahead of his time because he was over there in the late 1800s. But
What?
so, I mean,
1800s?
that's right.
I forget footy's that old. I know.
Bob Cobra. What do you think of that nickname?
The Kangaroo Kicker.
Yeah.
Sounds like a serial killer.
Yeah.
Sounds like he is kicking people to death. He
Yes,
is resting on his very strong tail
Yep.
and kicking with both feet.
Using his talons to rip out your gullet
Yeah.
or whatever.
And he is kicking you off a cliff.
Am I saying that right?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what they do with their talons? Kangaroos are brutal.
Mm.
I know even at the zoo, like you can walk through and you can like get quite close to them, and you see a lot of tourists doing that because kangaroos, like amazing. But I'm always like walking quite quickly through that bit. I'm like, don't fuck me up, don't fuck me up, don't fuck me up, please.
I think those places are normally pretty good at keeping the full badass kangaroo,
Yeah.
like the head guy or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, what are they called?
do you ever know for sure?
What are they called? The Don.
Are they the Don?
It's not the Don. What's the name
Are they
of
the
like
bull?
the...
No, they're
No, I
the...
don't know. But like the big red kangaroos.
Yeah,
they're
the
like,
alpha dog.
Yeah.
What are those ones that literally look like a cartoon muscle kangaroo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
those ones that don't fuck with
What are
those.
they?
At the
They've
zoo,
been
they've got...
working out on steroids. It's amazing.
They've got those like little cute little like blue flies or like grey, the little grey ones who are just like, I'm just here eating some leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, so cute. But I'm still like, I don't want to fuck with you.
Yeah.
Please, I'm just going through. It's the only way to get through to other exhibits. I'm just trying to get through the zoo, please.
I don't know why they make us walk through.
Why do they make me do this? This should be optional.
Yeah, when they're standing with their pecs.
Oh my God.
And their biceps are almost as big as mine. That's how big they are.
Yeah.
They're jacked.
Almost
Whoa.
as big as... I think you're being a bit generous there to
Oh
the
my
kangaroos.
goodness.
Yeah, look, I didn't want to embarrass them.
Yeah. It's cute. If they hit the gym a little more, okay.
Yeah.
But, you know.
But let's be honest.
Kangaroo Kicker. What do you think of that, Dave?
I love it.
Yeah, I thought you would. You
That is-
love alliteration?
Absolutely. The KK, Kangaroo Kicker.
Kangaroo Kicker is very good.
Yeah. It's no Cobra.
I wouldn't...
I'm finally on board with Cobra, by the way.
Thank you. I think it suits me.
I'm thinking of it as an ironic nickname. But
No irony there. No irony at all.
I think if you'd said, like, what is a Kangaroo Kicker known for, football would have been pretty low in my list. I would have had to be really thinking, like, oh, what do you kick? What do you kick?
yeah, I would have
You know?
been getting RSPCA involved, you know?
Yeah. I would have been like, okay, serial killer, because they always start with torturing animals.
Yeah.
It would have taken me a while to get to football, so this is exciting.
All right. Well, let me tell you about him. His name, Patrick John O'Day. We've got another John. We were doing Johns in block.
God,
but
yes.
Patrick John O'Day was born March 16th, 1872 in the Victorian country town of Kilmore.
I've been there.
I hadn't been there before. I looked it up a bit. I got sidetracked a bit, actually. You always see this turn off to Kilmore going down the Hume,
Yeah.
the road from Melbourne to Sydney. And, yeah, but I didn't know much about it. I looked it up, and apparently it's not a big population, 8,000 or something.
Yeah, right.
But I was looking into it, seeing if there are any other notable people who came from there. Apparently Victoria's second premier, John O'Shaughnessy, was from there.
Oh, cool.
And I found this great resource, which I guess is sort of like a political compendium or something. It's called wikipedia.org.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And according
Niche.
to that website, it says this is totally off topic already, but the Irish-born Catholic O'Shaughnessy was the bane of the Protestant establishment in Melbourne, and the ensuing sectarianism also affected those who lived in Kilmore. O'Shaughnessy's supporters were referred to as O'Rowdies, and O'Shaughnessy as the Rowdy King, because he was Irish.
Oh, rowdies.
Yeah, and they'd be depicted in like political cartoons as just like drunk Irishmen and a rabble because he was a Catholic
Wow.
guy.
Right, but he's obviously popular enough to be voted in as premier.
Well, this was before there was like a party system in Victoria. So it was sort of, he was popular enough in his electorate to make it. He actually, in this weird quirk, was elected in Kilmore and in Melbourne.
Ah.
And then he went, I'll represent Kilmore. And then Melbourne, his seat had to have a by-election. Isn't that weird?
Very weird.
Pretty haphazard system early on.
Yeah.
But then I guess he would just, he was a good enough politician to get enough support to become premier. But it was really unstable in the early days. And I think in part because of the Irish Catholic versus English Protestant tensions. And holding the premier's office became a real tug of war. The first premier was English-born William Clark Haynes in 1855. He held the office for a year and a bit. Then O'Shannessy took over for 50 days before Haynes wrestled back control for 316 days before O'Shannessy came back for another year and a half.
This is literally wrestling it back.
Yeah. Then a couple of other guys came in between for about a year and a half. And then O'Shannessy had his third and final stint for a year and 226 days. So I don't know if that's interesting. I went down a little rabbit hole there. I'm like, that's strange. I'd never heard of our first or second premier.
No, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know.
Which seems funny, especially because it was such a hectic kickoff to it all. Anyway, so...
Pardon the pun.
So O'Day was born in Kilmore. He was the 7th child in a family of 11.
Too many.
Have you got any questions in relation to that?
I guess I just want to know, do they know what was causing it?
I think back then they did not have the technology.
Yeah.
They're like, another one? What's going
What
on
keeps
here?
happening? There's something wrong with this
Keep
woman.
growing these humans inside of me.
Cursed.
Yeah.
His parents were Patrick Flannery O'Day, which has got to be one of the more Irish names out there.
Beautiful.
He was a squatter from Ireland, and he worked at a flour mill. And Johanna nee Crosley, who was Victorian born. So in 1880, the family moved to Melbourne after Pat's dad died at the age of 49. So he started going to school in the suburbs of Melbourne and was playing Aussie rules football while I was there. In those early days, at home, he'd kick around a homemade football his brother Andy made, which was constructed from leather and a bull's bladder, which I think is how a lot of old footies started out.
Yeah,
just
I think
like
so, yeah.
sheep's bladder or bull's bladder. Blow it up, tie it off,
Gross.
have a bloody kick.
But, it was like there was no waste back then. You know?
At the end of your kick to kick, you've got a snack.
Yeah.
You've got a bull's bladder.
What are they doing with the bladders now? They're just snacking on them straight away.
Yeah.
Come on, you got to kick around your bladder first. Soften it up a bit.
Yeah.
Earn your bloody lunch.
Earn your bladder. I've always said that.
Earn your bladder.
Earn your bladder. Kids these days never earning their bladders.
But of course, Matt, you very early on in this podcast did a history of how Aussie rules football came about. So people are more interested in finding out about that. That's a very early episode.
Yeah, I think it was my first ever report, maybe episode 2.
Amazing.
So, yeah, if you want to get the story, which would have been happening sort of alongside this story, definitely check that out. It's fascinating because I think we'll hear about it a bit later, but the American game at this point was in pretty early stages and you could hardly recognise it from what it's become.
Yeah, right.
Which would be the same for Australian football. Because they all kind of, I think, that was a long time ago, but episode 2 talked about how they all vaguely came from a similar... like a similar sport. Maybe was it in rugby college in England or something? I can't remember if I talked about it, but Marngrook footy, which I think it's better known now maybe than even 6 years ago whenever I was talking about it then, is also thought to be possibly it's an indigenous sport which Aussie rules football is quite similar to, and they think that its roots come from there as well.
You don't say.
Did I mention that at the time?
No. I'm
You're
just thinking
oh yeah, I remember episode 2.
No,
Matt.
God, no, I don't remember 5 minutes ago. Kangaroo Kicker, I think, is what we're talking about.
So anyway, he's kicking around this homemade bull's bladder footy. His brother Andy later claimed that an 8-year-old Pat was able to kick the ball 50 yards, or about 45 metres.
Easy.
And when he was 10, he could kick it 60 yards or 55 metres.
Okay, yawn. Oh, sorry, yeah, 10-year-old, I guess that's impressive.
Right, because right now, what's considered like a big kick on the AFL field?
There'd be AFL players who couldn't kick it that long, at 55 metres.
Well, they should be fired.
I agree.
This 10-year-old can do it.
Get me in there.
This 10-year-old in the 1800s could do it with a bull's bladder. Yeah. Apparently, the first time that O'Day came to the public's attention was on January the 3rd, 1888, when he risked his life to try and save a drowning woman. It was the middle of summer, and he was at Mordialloc Beach when he saw that his friend's mum was struggling in the bay. He was 15 years of age. He swam out, brought her back to shore.
He didn't kick her back in.
He kicked her back in.
55 metres. No, no worries, lady.
I'm not swimming that, but I can tell you what I can do.
Get on my boot.
He jumped up on a buoy.
Kicked her back.
She's like, can't we just have a rest on this boy? No.
No.
Boom.
No, O'Day received a bronze medal for bravery from the Royal Humane Society.
A bronze one? What? There was a silver and a gold that day, wasn't
Sorry,
there?
also, this guy and this lady saved people, but better.
Yeah.
So,
This lady
Slightly
actually
quicker.
saved 3 people at once.
In world record time.
Yeah.
sorry, brother. You set an Australian
and
record.
that woman was Dawn Fraser.
But, well, she's really old.
She's very old, but an amazing swimmer.
O'Day was a star junior footballer, and his long kicking as well as his goal kicking were prominent features of his game. At the age of 20, he was recruited by the Melbourne Football Club, who were then playing in the VFA, the Victorian Football Association.
It's amazing that it took him to be 20 when at half that age he could kick better than probably all the other players.
Exactly.
They wanted you to have a bit more life experience back then.
That's right.
You know?
Go on a gap year, mate. Then come
Yeah.
back. We'll talk about
Live
a contract.
we got a bit of growth to do
Come on.
emotionally.
Let me play.
Oh, please.
No,
Fucking kick it.
we see you got potential, mate, but we want you to live on.
Yeah, come on, mate.
Yeah, there's just like an old school roller coaster thing. Got to be this high,
Yeah.
mate. Sorry.
You've got to be emotionally this mature. You're going to go see the world. You know, go do Bali, do Thailand.
You've been to Kilmore, you've been to Melbourne, but
You know, have you been
Have
to
you been
the
to
Sunshine
Kuta?
Coast? Okay, that's
All the
pretty
best
far away.
players have been to the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah, you got to check out the sunny coast, mate. It's gorgeous. The beaches. You could save 3 people in a day.
man, you might get a gold. Then talk to us.
Yeah.
That's right. Bronze. We don't see bronze
We
around
don't
here.
fuck with bronze.
You would be familiar with the Melbourne Football Club, the oldest football club in Australia. They're also the 11th oldest football club in the world, and the world's oldest now professional football club of any code, apparently.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow, so the other 10 just have faded away.
Well, they're all amateur clubs, I think. Yeah.
Amateur.
Doing it for the love.
Yeah.
Yuck. The Melbourne's also the reigning premiers in the AFL, having broken a 57-year premiership drought this year, leaving the Saints with the longest current drought, having not won a premiership since their inaugural 1966 premiership. But
I believe.
I believe too, we will. I reckon it's just around the corner.
There are AFLW players from Melbourne who live in this very building.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
They're also, they're one of the inaugural AFLW teams as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you hear him kicking?
Yeah, I hear them kicking all night long. And I say, keep at it, girls. Sounds great.
What kind of bladders are they kicking?
Yeah. And they say, can you shut up and keep your
We're
dog?
trying to kick here.
Can you stop stomping around because you're playing with your dog? No.
They're like, honestly, if you keep playing around with that dog, I see a little football inside
Yeah.
of it. A little dog bladder.
That's about right, yeah. They're going to kick my dog. And rightly so. You got to do what you got to do to be the number one.
You kicked my dog. No good. So anyway, O'Day played for Melbourne. He played well. Back then they were known as the Redlegs, which I love.
Right. So
Because
the
of their
Melbourne Red Legs.
Red socks. Yeah, they're the Demons now, but they used to be known as the Redlegs.
Red legs.
Bit of fun.
Okay.
Writing for the Australian Dictionary of Biography, James Griffin writes, he was described by the Australasian as a fleet wingman. His high marking and prodigious drop kicks, often accurate from any angle, made him one of the cracks of the competition.
I didn't understand a word of that.
Wow. As in, like, this is great crack? That kind of Irish expression?
No, just like crack squad, one of the best, I guess. This is
Okay.
old-timey language.
Start that
Nice.
again. He's a fleet.
He's a fleet wingman. So a wingman, they sit on the outside
On the
of
wing.
the centre. Yeah, on the wings.
Okay.
On
Yep.
the fleet. Oh, sorry.
He was a high marker.
Yes.
Take big high marks.
So
A
that means-
specky.
so that
You do a
means-
specky?
You do a specky.
That means catching the ball
Catching
on
the
the
ball,
full.
that's right,
And
sorry.
that way you get to have a kick.
Yes. And sometimes you run up behind somebody else who's just standing around trying to also mark the ball, and you run up and you jump on their back and then you mark it, and they're like, "Oh, come on!"
I was trying to mark that
I was
one.
in the right spot.
And then the commentator goes, "That's got to be the mark of the year."
And the guy down below is like, I put myself in the right position, had my hands ready in the marking position that Mum taught me.
So, sometimes you get famous for being that person, though. I know Tism wrote a song. One of the famous big speckies ever was Alex Jezelenko.
Yeah.
The commentator
Jezelenko, you beauty!
exactly, in the 1970 grand final, I think it was.
Is that 1970?
And then, the guy he jumped on was Collingwood's Graham Jerker Jenkins.
Oof.
And Tism wrote a song called "The Back on Which Jezza Jumped."
That's very
That's all
good.
about Jerker Jenkins.
That's crazy that was in the 70s and it is still
in the vernacular or whatever. Yeah.
And as somebody who was born in 1990, who has never paid that much attention to footy, for that to just be in my brain.
Yeah, that is wild,
That's
isn't
weird,
it?
isn't it?
That's good commentary.
And I was just yelling Jezelenko, and then you sort of nodded like, and the other bit. I was like, oh, yes, of course. You beauty.
You beauty.
But in fairness to Jezelenko, it is pretty easy to jump on someone's back when they are bent over jerking it. Which I imagine is why he got that nickname.
And honestly, give the man some privacy.
Come on, mate.
Obviously, it's not the best spot to be jerking it.
Yeah, on the MCG on grand final day.
But emotions run high.
Exactly. You need to relax.
You got to you got to get that energy out somehow.
Do you think of horniness as an emotion?
Is it not?
The number one emotion.
Is it not an emotion? What is horniness if not an emotion?
You would know this, Matt. Is there, as a player, is there a sense of shame if someone speckies on top of you? Is it a bit like, oh no, let him jump on me?
I think it's just bad luck because you're putting yourself in a spot there, which is it's actually a pretty brave thing. You're probably backing into a pack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
so he's like, I'm actually the bravest guy out there. So
they do end up copping. But I imagine from you see the mark of the year, they'll be joke. You see commentators now who had speckies taken over them in their playing days. Those clips will get played as hey, you're a stepladder, weren't you? That sort of
But
stuff.
how can you avoid it?
No, I know,
They're behind you. And you're just doing your job of standing there trying to get the ball.
Yeah.
And somebody jumps all over you and you're the fool? Yeah. How ridiculous.
Very silly.
Fragile masculinity at it again. You don't get that in the AFLW. They say, oh, do you want to piggyback? Jump on, my friend. Here you go. Do you want to get it? Your turn.
Very supportive
I'll give
competition.
you a boost.
It's a game of piggybacks.
Women.
I don't think gets to quite that level, but they off the field, I don't think they're ever sucked in.
Yeah.
There was a post recently of I think one of the clubs was the Eagles. West Coast lent their training equipment to some Crows players who were stuck because of quarantine.
Oh, nice.
So they delivered gym equipment to their accommodation at a different club.
Stop
They're
it.
just it does feel like a whole different level of community in the AFLW.
Women.
Right, but hiding inside that gym equipment was an army.
Yeah.
They popped out and killed them in their sleep.
It was a Trojan horse.
The Trojan
in a dumbbell.
treadmill.
Yeah.
Okay, so O'Day, one of the cracks of the competition.
Yes,
which
yeah.
I believe to be a positive.
Sentence we all understood.
Yep.
And reading it back, it's there's a lot of lingo in there.
Yeah.
And some of it outdated.
I
Actually,
did our listeners a big favour in asking
You
follow-up
did.
questions.
Thank you so much for
And
that.
going on a tangent.
I pretended I knew.
Just nodded.
Great crack.
See, that's fragile masculinity at it again.
I felt like I'd been marked on. By words.
Words takes a
Words-
screamer.
Words is the only thing that would even look at you and think it could handle
I
me
can say- yeah.
specking off the back of you. You would be dead. If someone tried to specky off you, that you'd be dead.
Has anyone ever been speckied to death?
I'm picturing a Looney Tunes. You're they become the human accordion. Walking off.
Oh, no.
That's what happens.
Jezelenko. He's so small. What were you thinking?
Jezelenko, you murderer! That's how that would go.
So football writer Ben Collins wrote a great feature article about O'Day, which I'll link to it in the show notes. This was the article that brought my attention to his story. I don't think it's super well known. I tried to find if there was another podcast about this topic, but it seems like there hasn't been, which is weird because he was in terms of football, in America and Australia, very influential apparently, as I'll tell you about.
Exciting.
But anyway, so Collins wrote this article, and I'll read from it here. The Redlegs capitalised on his versatility, using the 183-centimetre player's unique skills at either end and on a wing. It's about my height, so it's like it'd be quite short as a footballer now, but I think back then that's a tall player, yeah.
And also, he's at either end and on the wing, so
Yes,
he's everywhere.
He's everywhere, that's right. Though fast and capable of taking acrobatic marks, O'Day was remembered for his prodigious
Backflip.
kicking. Yeah.
You do a backflip, catch it, hit the ground, another slip. You're like, I can't get this guy.
What's happening?
It's honestly ridiculous. Is this illegal?
He's going from one end to the other on a trapeze. What's going on?
I can't get him.
I just don't think they're allowed dirt bikes out there. I just don't think so.
Is that in the rule book? It's not in the rule book.
He played for the Melbourne Crusty Demons.
That's very good.
But he was particularly known for his drop kick. He could kick a really long drop kick, which doesn't exist in the game anymore. But it's when
What?
the drop punt took over from it. The drop kick was you're basically kicking it, I think, as the ball hits the ground. Whereas a drop punt now, you kick it before the ball hits the ground.
Right.
But I think a drop kick would go further than a drop punt, but it's a lot less accurate.
Is it still allowed?
Still allowed, but
no
people...
one-
Yeah, I don't think anyone's done it in a game for like... It maybe in my lifetime.
Bring it back.
Yeah, bring it back.
I'd love to see it brought back.
And maybe while we're at it, stop my brother from calling me a drop kick all the time.
Can we take it out of my family's like vocabulary and just put it back on the field
Put it
where
in
it
the
belongs?
game.
I'd prefer to be called a drop punt.
Yeah.
Sorry, what? Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. Thank you.
Rhyming slang? No.
No.
He was abnormally long-legged. Abnormally long-legged, and he attributed much of his power to his eye-catching follow-through, in which his right kicking leg extended well above his head, while his left foot rose about 20 centimetres off the turf.
Oof.
So you can sort of picture him, he's sort of...
A real Taylor Harris.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Exactly, yeah. I think Taylor Harris is the modern-day kicking kangaroo.
Yeah.
No, kangaroo kicker.
The modern day O-Day.
Yeah, the modern O-Day.
That's beautiful. That's actually very nice.
Things are just falling in our lap
Oh my
today.
Today is so easy.
So easy.
This podcast today has been so easy.
It's been a dream.
Do you know what I mean?
All right.
So easy.
This podcast is standing there and we are just jumping all over its
We're
back.
jumping all over. We are specking all over this podcast.
We're specking this podcast to death.
Yeah.
In 1894, O'Day was named as an emergency for the Victorian team and was instrumental in Melbourne finishing runner-up. So he's not quite hitting the full heights, but he's doing great work. While O'Day was kicking goals on the field, he wasn't quite as successful off it. Apparently, he was keen to study law at Melbourne University. At that point, a relatively new institution, having been founded in 1853. Unfortunately, he failed the entrance exam on each of his 3 attempts.
Couldn't spell law.
How's he spelling it?
L-O-R-E.
Yeah. He's like, I just want to talk about dragons and
Yeah.
stuff.
So, can I come in? And they're like, no. No. You want a Bachelor of Law. This is the Bachelor of Law.
Yeah, that's what I want, a Bachelor of Law.
No.
Have you seen how long my legs are?
Let me in. I'll stun the jury with my long legs.
Objection, Your Honour. He's got really long legs. It's distracting. So at the same point, his older brother Andy was travelling overseas. Not only was Andy a handy homemade football maker,
Andy.
he was also a decent sportsman himself and was travelling as a trainer for the Australian heavyweight boxing champion Paddy Slaven. Slaven trained under the father of Australian boxing. This is another small rabbit hole I went down. His name was Larry Foley, who also trained boxing Hall of Famer Peter Jackson, the only Canadian-born world heavyweight boxing champion Tommy Burns, and British boxer Bob Fitzsimmons, who was boxing's first 3-division world champion.
Wow, amazing that Peter Jackson could direct those films and make suits.
No.
As well as box.
As well as box. He
Done
could
it
do it
all.
all.
What a guy.
How long's this guy been
And
alive?
write that great jingle.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson.
Dum,
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 ba-dum,
dum,
ba-dum.
dum, dum.
I'm going to show you. I mean, obviously this is an audio medium, but what are you picturing? Boxer from the late 1800s. Let me show you Paddy Slavin.
Is he wearing a suit? Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, of
That's
course.
a real stick 'em up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Put 'em up.
Hey.
That's a poster that would be in like in a pub or something.
Yeah.
You know, like it would be like a vintage poster, and you'd be like, I don't know who that guy is. It's Paddy Slavin. That's who it is.
Right. Yeah. No one has known who it is for
No.
many decades.
Yeah, he looks like it's like on a Carlton Draft ad or
Yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But he's got the mustache, thick mustache with a little twirl at the
Yeah.
end.
I wouldn't want to mess with him.
No.
He's got the build of like a tough kangaroo. If that helps listeners picture him a bit better. I'll post a photo of him at some point on the social media. But yeah, he's like he was the Australian champion and went toe to toe with Peter Jackson a few times.
Wow.
I'm trying to research the Kangaroo Kicker, and all of a sudden I'm looking into the history of boxing.
Yeah. There's a lot going on in this story.
Anyway, Andy O'Day travelled with Slavin as he toured England and then to the United States of America.
Whoa.
At the end of the tour, Andy ended up staying in America and was appointed as rowing coach at the University of Wisconsin. So this guy could do it all.
Is he just good at all sports?
I think he's just good at everything, yeah.
Hate those people, to be honest.
His rig just must have been so sick. They went, you can do whatever you want.
Sick
Yeah.
rig.
Oh my God, look at that sick rig.
Oh my goodness. You want to row? You want a box?
You all right? What do you want to do?
do
You
you
can
wanna
have it. You're my wife?
Sure.
You want this house? Yours. Look at that rig.
A rig like that. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
It's mesmerising.
I'd be ashamed to not let that rig have this house.
Yeah.
Couldn't live with myself. Despite Andy telling his little brother Pat to stay back home, Pat arrived unannounced at the University of Wisconsin in Madison.
Stay away.
Don't. Let me have this. No.
No. I'm the Kangaroo Kicker. Yeah, as yet.
Yeah.
Not
soon.
nicknamed, but soon to be.
I'm the soon-to-be Kangaroo Kicker. How dare you?
I again got distracted when I was going through the University of Wisconsin-Madison's notable alum section, of which Pat O'Day is one.
Oh, yeah.
But others on the list include the Joker, the Smoker, the Midnight Toker, Steve Miller.
Oh my goodness.
Some people, you might know him as Maurice, but that isn't the case. Also, alum there was Nevermind producer and Garbage drummer Butch Vig. Airplane directors, the Zucker brothers. Milo from The Descendants. That wasn't where he went to college, but he studied there later. Astronaut Laurel Clark. And previous report topic, Charles Lindbergh.
Oh.
I hadn't heard of the university, but apparently it's one of the many big, famous American universities, I guess.
Universities.
Jeez, they love to study.
God, they love it.
Don't they love to learn over there?
And the whole college system makes a lot of sense and is good for everyone.
Well, that's good
Yeah.
news. I don't know much about it, but that is reassuring.
Not a lot of upfront costs, which
Oh,
I think
thank
is
God.
great.
That is good.
Love that.
Which is really good.
University costs are on your mind at the moment for some
Fuck.
reason.
A big old tax bill, that's
Yeah.
why.
Going back to do your PhD.
Yeah, I'm going. Yes, that's why. Gonna do my PhD.
Pretty hot dog.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do my. Anyway,
I'm gonna go eat a pretty hot dog.
a pretty hot dog. Yeah, that's right. Onions,
Onions.
mustard.
But it's like
You got it.
aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's
Looks like it was drawn in a cartoon.
It's a really pretty hot dog, and I'm going to eat it.
And you're borrowing money from the government to eat it.
Yes, it's an expensive, pretty hot dog.
I learned recently. Have I said this to you before? The term hot dog came from an American cartoon, like a guy in a strip cartoon in the newspaper, where it was just like a cartoon of a dog in a bun or something. It was called a hot dog, and then it just caught on from there. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
I love that.
Because I'm always like, where did that come from?
Hot dog.
Apparently a cartoon, some sort of little joke that
Huh.
I don't know if it translates
Yeah,
now.
I don't really get it.
I don't know if
Why? Because why
Only-
would that picture make sense if the term hot dog didn't already exist?
They must
You know?
yeah.
Do they just call them hot wieners?
What do they call them? Hotties.
Yes, they were like Vina, whatever they were called,
Vina.
Bratwurst and all that sort of
Yeah,
stuff.
right. And then they put like a dog in there and went, this is pretty funny. Look at this hot dog.
Although I've just done a quick Google, and this says originally US college slang, probably influenced by a popular belief that the sausages contain dog meat, which
Okay.
makes more sense to me.
Right, then I can see why a
And then maybe the
cartoonist would
cartoon came in after that and popularised
do
the
a parody
term,
of that, being like, "Oh yeah, that sausage you're eating is actually dog."
So that was a popular food, even when people thought it had dog meat in it.
I mean, I don't understand people drawing the line. But I won't eat a dog meat.
Yeah.
I'll happily eat a goat or something. You know, what's the difference between a goat and a dog to
Hey,
you?
don't look at me. I don't eat meat.
Oh, there we go.
I'll answer this one.
You'd eat either, wouldn't you?
I would not eat a dog unless it was hot.
Get a dog
Would
up
you
here, Dave.
eat a cat?
No, I think that largely poisonous meat. I believe.
Okay. All right. That was a test.
Thank you.
Would you eat a polar bear?
No, I believe they're endangered.
Dave,
Okay.
I'm back on this great...
Also, I think if you eat their liver, you get a
That's
lot of
bad too.
poisonous.
it's a great resource called wikipedia.org that I think I mentioned before.
Thanks so much.
It says, in Germany, the consumption of dog meat was common in Saxony, Silesia, Anhalt, and Bavaria during the 19th and 20th centuries.
Oh no, that's my family lineage.
So maybe it makes sense. The suspicion that sausages contained dog meat was occasionally justified.
Oh.
An early use of the term hot dog in reference to the sausage meat appears in the Evansville, Indiana Daily Courier in 1884. Ever the innocent Wienerwurst, don't know why I'm doing it with the V sound, Wienerwurst, man will be barred from dispensing hot dog on the street corner.
Was that the caption of the cartoon?
Yeah, I don't know. Have I been... Oh, no, here's a cartoon here. From... Anyway, this is a sidetrack that's not required. A cartoon by Tad. Check it out if you want to.
Tad.
From 1916.
Great work, Tad.
We are off topic. So, yeah, we're talking about O'Day. He's arrived to visit his brother at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. I wonder if we've got any listeners from University of Wisconsin. So he was sort of settling in there at his brother's uni just for a visit. He went out for a kick of the footy, and according to Collins, when the wannabe lawyer had a casual kick of the American ball on campus, it caused such a commotion among awestruck onlookers that he thought he'd committed a public offence.
You've kicked it too far. Arrest that boy.
The university's football coach was so impressed that the 24-year-old Australian was swiftly offered a chance to study law on the condition he also joined the football squad. No,
Whoa.
you kicked that ball real far. Want to be a lawyer?
Yes, that's exactly what I want to
that
be.
worked out quite
Oh,
well,
man.
actually.
Oh, I mean, they still do that now, don't they? Offering scholarships to someone just because they're really good at sport.
Yeah, so that's yeah.
But it's funny that Melbourne Uni didn't take him up on that. Obviously, the sport Melbourne Uni sport isn't as a high priority, maybe. But like American colleges and football and stuff's huge.
Yeah, and it was particularly huge at the time because the NFL was still decades away from being formed, and at the time, college football was the game's elite level.
Wow!
So this is a big deal. He's basically signed to the top level because someone saw him have a kick in the
for
park.
a game he's never played,
Yeah, exactly.
in a country he's never been
Yeah,
in.
he's just briefly been there.
And he's just gone outside for a kick. A very normal thing for like young Australian men to do, especially. Nice day, go kick the footy.
Yeah.
And now he's going to college for a law degree.
I feel terrible for the current kicker, though. Like, oh, no. I've trained my whole life for this. And then just casually kicks it twice as far.
Yeah. And he's like, is that good? Like, is that good in this
that
game?
Oh, I wasn't trying.
Oh, sorry, I'm a bit rusty. Just got off a plane. Probably got off a boat.
Have you got any bladders I can practice on?
So Pat became a student at UW and a member of their football team. Go Badgers.
Go Badgers.
You might assume that they are called the Badgers because badgers are endemic to the area or something like that, but apparently not, at least according to wikipedia.org,
Okay.
which says the team's nickname originates in the early history of Wisconsin. In the 1820s and 1830s, prospectors came to the state looking for minerals, primarily lead. Without shelter in the winter, the miners had to live like badgers in tunnels burrowed into the hillsides. So that's where they get the name from.
Go
apparently.
Badgers.
Go Badgers. Go Badgers.
Go back to your hole, Badgers.
I went down another quick rabbit hole reading about their mascot.
Badger hole?
Badger hole.
Oh, sorry.
How offensive.
Oh, dear. Apologies to any UW listeners.
Oh, rabbit hole. How dare you?
Apparently, their mascot's named Buckingham U Badger, or Bucky Badger for short.
Okay. I hate that.
I like it. I didn't
Nah.
like Buckingham, but Bucky Badge.
Bucky
That's
the Badger's
fun.
all right.
The only thing I really want to talk to you about is portraying the badger. You know, the job, you're in the suit at the games and whatever.
Love it.
It's an unpaid student position,
Of course.
but apparently the audition part is grueling. This is according to that great resource, wikipedia.org once again. Tryouts include tests of dancing skills, expressiveness in suit, ability to work with props, and the number of push-ups a candidate can do, as well as an interview and the ability to write and perform an original skit.
In the suit?
I guess so.
Yeah, it's pointless having an expressive face. So you've got to be expressive in suit.
Are they
What do
doing
you do?
lots of push-ups in the suit?
Apparently, I think when they score, the team scores, they have to do a certain amount of push-ups.
Oh, okay.
And I saw there was someone held some record of doing more than 1,000 one game.
Bucky
because
Badge.
they scored so much.
Did they stop the whole game? Just push-ups the whole time?
In a suit like that, you'd be sweating your ass
So
off.
it's an unpaid position, but will you get a scholarship to do law?
Apparently no scholarship or anything as well.
The fuck is
there's-
the point?
Obviously, the glory
You
of
can't,
being
people
Bucky
don't even
Badge.
know you. I mean, your face is, if you're doing it for the fame.
Like, you go to a local bar and all the men and women you can pick up. It's like, you know, Bucky Badge, that's me in that suit.
And
Oh,
they'd be
my
like-
goodness.
Maybe like, barkeep, settle my tab. I'm taking this man home.
You're taking Bucky home? The tab's on me.
Yeah. Hey, no charge.
People are fighting over to pay for Bucky's
Yeah.
tab.
Bucky.
The Bucky team, so I think a few different people at any one time are playing Bucky. They attend a mascot training camp every year in August, and they perform throughout the year, including at athletic events, but also at ceremonies, parades, festivals, weddings, and even the occasional funeral.
Weddings and
I don't-
funerals.
I'm putting this on the record. I do not want Bucky at my funeral.
Okay.
Really?
Okay.
Even if he's written a particularly good skit.
I would prefer to see the skit ahead of time to determine whether or not. I'll leave that up to you. If you think it is a good enough skit to be performed at my funeral.
Have you seen the Twitter account? Is it Twitter or Instagram? But there's an account that's sporting mascots at minute silences. So you know they've normally got this big grin plastered on their face.
Yeah.
The rest of the team are sort of lined up in a row with their heads down, and the mascots at the end grinning
Looking like a psycho.
That's very
That's
good
really funny.
And now, a minute of push-ups.
That's what they would have wanted.
How many push-ups could you do?
In a minute.
No, it wasn't a timed thing for the Bucky
Yeah, that would
tryouts.
have been over a few hours. Yeah, that's true.
So how many?
You
could
never
do?
said there was a time limit. You wait for me. I'm just catching my breath.
I've done one so far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
I didn't say stop. I didn't say stop the count.
If you wanted me to do like a heap of them in a minute, maybe you should have been a little clearer. But it's too late for that. I've started my way.
Yeah. I've done a push-up. Now I'm writing a skit.
Yeah. Okay. I'm doing a little dance while I write. I can multitask.
I'm collecting props. There's a lot of things I got to do, and I'm showing you that I can do
I'm
them all.
so busy. It's not easy being Bucky.
You're not actually Bucky yet.
Wow.
Well,
We'll see.
yeah.
Well, I've legally changed my name, so...
It's going to be embarrassing if you don't. For you. It's going to be embarrassing for you if you don't. Give me this part.
Did you know this? In 2006, Bucky was inducted into the Mascot Hall of Fame's
Of course I knew
college
that.
division.
Yeah, of course I knew that.
Great
Did
work,
you know
Bucky.
this? There's a Mascot Hall of Fame. Anyway, so that's another sidetrack. But let's get back to patio day. So when he arrived at UW, is UW shorter than University of Wisconsin to say? Yes, it is. Great. Glad I figured that out in real time. When O'Day arrived at UW,
And it's Madison.
Madison, yeah.
Is that same James Madison that everything
I
else
guess
is
it,
named
yeah,
after?
it must be, I assume.
God, he's just throwing his name everywhere,
Oh,
isn't
come
he?
on, Mad Dog.
Pew, pew, pew.
I think this
Square Gardens, Avenue, University Place.
is... Oh, this guy.
That's ridiculous.
Don't call me baby. So, yeah, I think Madison is like the key campus for UW.
UW.
Oh, that's even better.
That's way better.
I only asked about if it was briefer because, www takes longer to say than World Wide Web.
Yeah.
I had that in my head.
That's fun. Don't worry, we'll shorten it to 3 letters. Oh, easy.
www. Anyway, so when he arrived, the Badgers had only been playing football for a few years. They played their first games in 1889, losing them both.
Losers.
So they only played 2 games.
They played 2 games in their first year, yeah.
Okay.
But they played more as time went on. And they improved over the following years. But it seems O'Day's arrival heralded a mini golden age for the Badgers. His arrival coincided with the formation of the Big Ten Conference in 1896, when Wisconsin became the first ever conference champion with 7 wins, 1 loss, and 1 tie. Griffin writes, "The kicking Kangaroos' punts and drops electrified the Midwest fans and changed the emphasis of gridiron from bone-crushing power plays to cleaner ball handling and frequent kicking." So, it was quite a different game back then. According to Collins, though, I'll mention that shortly, but according to Collins, O'Day almost didn't even make it onto the field. One afternoon in April 1896, he trained with Andy's rowing crew, and both of them were lucky to escape with their lives when a squall swamped their boats.
A squall.
A squall. Well, I don't know where they're rowing.
What's a squall?
Isn't it that's like a storm?
Are you trying
Water
to say,
storm.
trying to say squirrel?
Squirrel.
Whenever you say you're trying to say, I'm like,
Yeah,
oh my God,
panic.
my whole world's about to turn upside down. Isn't it? A squall's like
I just don't know. I've never heard that.
Isn't it like some sort of like a sea storm or something?
Yeah, I don't
Oh,
know
shit.
the definite definition, but it sounds nasty.
It does not sound good at all.
Yeah, when I think of rowing, I'm picturing like on a very pleasant river or lake.
on a very pleasant man-made river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Pat was clinging to both his vessel, but also a crewmate who couldn't swim.
Oh, shit.
And you're on the rowing team.
Yeah.
That feels like you should probably know
Yeah.
how to swim. Not victim blaming, just saying maybe be a little more comfy around water.
That's right. I mean, the fact that someone who tries out to be the mascot has to do a skit, has to do all of these
Yeah.
push-ups, but the rowing person doesn't know how to swim. That seems backwards to me.
I can sit on water.
Maybe you're more motivated to be a fast rower and get back to land. You know?
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yep.
Maybe that was the
You're
thought.
terrified the whole time.
It's everywhere.
Use that. Use that energy.
The faster you row, the faster you will be back on land. Okay.
Use that energy. Which energy? The terror or the horniness?
Because I am rock hard.
But I don't want to get out of the canoe because people will know.
This is one of those inappropriate riffs before someone dies. But through sheer exhaustion in the cold water, O'Day eventually lost his grip and the other rower drowned. Ugh.
That's awful.
Okay, we did not know that.
No.
Obviously, no, you didn't. I did, and I enabled you, and I
But
apologize.
also
for
learned
that.
to swim.
A rescue party finally arrived after 2 hours. Understandably, the traumatic experience discouraged O'Day from rowing, and he focused more on football after that. After his first game of college football, O'Day suffered a broken arm at practice. He got injured a bit. It was like, a real slim Jim. And it was a pretty brutal game, even back then, I believe. But in his first game back, he caused a sensation at the Chicago Coliseum indoor stadium when he rocketed a punt kick that became stuck in the roof beams.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
Yeah, doesn't seem ideal. But,
No, it's a pain in the
it'd be
butt.
hard to do.
Yeah.
It's annoying because they only had one ball.
Yeah. Oh, great.
Fucking hell. Anybody got a bladder?
Anyone got a ladder? Pretty big ladder, admittedly. O'Day quickly adapted to the American code, which in its formative years perfectly suited his skills. Forward passes weren't yet legalised, so the game more resembled rugby.
Oh, yeah.
Now the quarterback, big part of the game is a throwing game. Back then you couldn't do that. So kicking was the way to move the ball forward, apparently.
Right, and you know how now you're saying, like, as a kicker, like Sav Rocker goes over there, just kicks, it doesn't do anything else. At the time, is he still in the scrums and being...
Well, yeah, he was playing full back, so he had a much more active role.
Yeah.
Wow.
So hence the broken arm.
That's fair.
And also, different to now, back then, field goals were worth 5 points and touchdowns only 4 points. So
Okay.
it was really valuable. His skills were really valuable at the
And what
time.
are they worth now?
They're now worth 3 points for a field goal and 6 points for a touchdown.
Right.
And a touchdown, you get a shot, you get to kick a conversion or whatever. I don't know what they call them after that, but you get to kick a goal, giving you probably 7 points usually.
I don't think if you'd asked me how many points is a touchdown, I don't think I would have known. I would have been guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I've been watching a lot of it recently, and I probably wouldn't have put my life on the line either.
Well, you've been watching a lot, but drinking a lot at the same time.
I've been watching because the games, it's normally like a weird time to be drinking, but just on Thanksgiving Day a few weeks back, I happened to have a massive bender while the games were on.
And then tragically, you weren't able to make our live podcast when we screened The Mummy, which you can hear on Patreon. So instead, we had to sub in. Amazingly, we were able to book the writer/director of The Mummy, Stephen Summers.
Yeah.
Matt, you would have loved to meet him.
You would have loved him, yeah. He was a lot of fun.
He knew a lot.
Bit of a loose unit.
Yeah,
I listened back a little bit and couldn't listen to too much because for some reason it made me cringe. But it was funny how much he sounded like me.
It is interesting, actually,
Because
yeah.
I thought, because he's from Indiana, he kept saying.
Yeah.
After like seemingly looking at his phone or something to double check.
Yeah,
It was weird.
it
Yeah,
was
lots of
definitely a lot of
pauses
notes.
before he remembered his own name.
Yeah.
Strange guy.
It
But,
was, but it was, you know,
But a boon for the podcast to have him.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. So that's Phrasing the Bar on
A
Patreon.
great get for us.
Yeah.
So, but obviously your loss.
Yeah, no, I showed not to be able to get there. But it was a fun day either way. So he's kicking goals on the field now. He, as a kicker, he could dominate. The American ball was also rounder back then, less pointy, I guess, because it wasn't a throwing ball as much.
More bladder-like.
More bladder-like. It was more similar to an Australian football at the time, so it was more conducive to drop kicking.
Yep.
In his 4 years at UW, O'Day was a revelation and became captain in his final 2 years. So he went straight to the top there. According to Collins, he smashed all of the game's kicking records, producing extraordinary efforts of precision and power with drop kicks, punts, and place kicks from his, quote, educated toe.
That toe, that's got a tertiary education.
Yeah, with honours.
Yeah. Now that toe could get into Melbourne Uni Law.
Yeah.
Okay. Come back to us when your toe wants to sit the exam.
Honestly, it's often the way that, in Australia, you got to go overseas to prove yourself before you get respect back home.
It's absolutely true. It's really disappointing. Tall poppy syndrome really ruining it for a lot of toes.
I remember that happened with Madison Avenue. They had to get that big hit, Don't Call Me Baby.
And then we were like, ours.
Yeah.
Madison Avenue, ours.
They're ours. One of ours.
New Zealand, ours.
They did well overseas.
Yeah, New Zealand's doing pretty well.
Ours.
We'll take them.
Anything from New Zealand, we'll take it.
The Badgers fullback, O'Day, became the most dangerous player in the game, launching the
he's got a knife.
Yeah.
Knife on the field.
Yeah, it wasn't until he got over there that they outlawed knives on the field. They're
You
like,
said
we
that-
didn't think we need to put them in the rules, but
apparently we do, because there's this weird Australia with a knife. You said that with the same sort of tone you would say bird in the classroom. There's a bird in the classroom. Knife on the field.
I like that there's a special tone for bird in the
Yeah.
classroom.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what I was thinking about the other day? Sorry to derail here, but like the phrase fucking hell
Yeah.
sounds silly the way I just said it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because in Australia it has its own melody.
Right.
And
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Or even like fucking hell. It's like
Fucking hell.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a fark, not a fuck.
Fucking.
But like a Brit, like, fucking hell.
That sounds ridiculous. It's a fucking hell,
That sounds classy and beautiful, I think. Oh, fucking hell.
Oh, fucking hell.
Could picture maybe Poirot's offsider saying it.
Yeah.
I say, fucking hell.
Hastings would never. Good Lord.
Good Lord, look at her, Poirot. He's a real perv.
Absolutely.
I say.
Wow. Hastings.
He's always been taken in by the beautiful woman who sometimes it's the killer. Sometimes.
Hastings, you stupid bitch.
He is a little silly
Yeah.
sometimes. But
very brave when needed.
He's written into the show, right, so Poirot has someone to explain things to
Yeah, it's exposition.
for us.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for idiots like you.
It's for dummies.
Like us, right?
Yeah, like you.
So he became the most dangerous player in the game, both for his knife, but also his big kicking. He launched the longest known ever drop-kicked field goal with a 62-yard bomb on the run in a blizzard.
None of that.
Which sounds impossible.
Blizzard, I
In
understood.
a blizzard. So he's got a knife and then he's got a bomb.
Oh my
This guy's
God.
taking it to the
This
next
guy's,
level.
he's unhinged.
He is a terrorist.
Yeah, like we're talking about this guy like he's a hero. He's unhinged.
To kick an accurate 62-yard running drop kick
So that's over 50
in a
meters.
blizzard. Yeah, 56.7 apparently.
And
Whoa.
the longest ever then, or still the longest?
Well, the way
known?
this is written, it feels like it's the longest record. I think because they don't do running drop kicks
Yeah.
anymore. So it probably
Not super
But
relevant
to
now.
kick it through the blizzard accurately at that distance, that's amazing.
That's incredible.
on the run. Like I'd be
Yeah.
lucky to make contact with the ball,
On the run.
but
Yeah,
I'm
no.
also not a professional footballer in any sense of the
Yet.
word. So yet, I'm trying to educate that toe, but it just won't listen.
I currently have a bruise on my ankle here.
Oh,
From
Jess, that's a tattoo.
Oh shit! I was gonna say it's in the shape of Saturn. How cool is that? That's just from kicking a soccer ball for my dog and kicking it incorrectly,
ow.
and I've got a massive bruise on my leg.
Was it in a blizzard?
Yeah, that's why I brought this up. Because you're like, I wouldn't even make contact with my foot. I would, but like not the right part
Yeah.
of my body. But something would make contact with that ball. No accuracy, of course, but
But at
more
least you made
power.
contact.
Yeah, I made contact.
Oh, it easily went 62 yards, just sideways.
Yeah.
O'Day believed his greatest goal, which has been hailed as quote the most impossible kick in football history, was a match-winning 55-yard or 50-meter place kick into a howling crosswind. As he lined up, the referee said he was crazy for even considering it. The ref's like, "Mate, you're wasting your time.
What are you doing?
You can't kick it. Let's go."
As if you can do it. Stop wasting my time. Got a cup of tea over there waiting for me.
Once he even roosted a punt kick that sailed with wind assistance 110 yards, the full length of the field, over 100 meters.
And he roosted it.
He roosted it. That means kick it big.
Wow.
Means kick it with your dick.
No, that's rooted it.
Watch me root this ball.
It was said that O'Day could curve a football as pitchers curve a baseball and hit a 5-yard target at 80 meters. Like he could just make the ball move.
Wow, you can
at
bend
his
it like
will.
Beckham.
He could bend it like Beckham, exactly.
Wow.
That's
Is that what they
amazing.
said?
That's what they said. And people are like, who's Beckham? He hasn't been invented
Wow,
yet.
he was like foretold
Yes.
when he came along.
Yeah, in the scriptures.
Yeah,
Beckham was foretold.
one day Beckham, number 7, will come along.
Collins goes on to say that it's little wonder that the father of American football, Walter Camp, selected O'Day in the All-American teams of 1898 and 99. He was the first Western States player to achieve the honour.
Wow.
Camp declared the Aussie, quote, put the foot in football, and also put the spring in Springfield. It was suggested in a half-page newspaper cartoon that O'Day's right leg had become as iconic as the right arm of world champion boxer John Boston Strongboy Sullivan. So that, I mean, that says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow,
Say no more.
And that is absolutely,
Report over.
absolutely nominative determinism.
Yeah.
Strong boy became a boxer.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Boston Strongboy, that's his middle name.
Amazing.
Well, that's a great, I think
Strong boy.
that's one of my favourite ever nicknames.
Do you want me to call you Boston Strong Boy?
Yeah, could you?
Yeah, BS for short.
Boston Strong Bun.
Strong bun.
Strong buns.
You do have strong buns.
I have strong buns.
Watch me bun this ball.
Like Poirot, I can carry a coin wedged between my buttock. A heavy coin. So these exploits led him to receiving the nickname the Kangaroo Kicker,
Right.
which I think has it settled in now.
Oh, big fan.
I think
Still think he's a serial killer.
yeah.
I think that's a twist that's coming that I've probably ruined by nailing it.
There is a twist that
But I like it.
He's definitely like a low-level criminal, but I don't know if that's allegedly, maybe. The people loved him, writing poems and songs in his honour, leading up to an 1898 Thanksgiving Day game against Michigan. One of the songs included "Oh Pat O'Day," which was sung the popular tune at the time, "Marjorie," and it went, "Oh," I couldn't find the original song, so I don't know the tune. I'll just talk out some of these.
O'Day.
Yes. The balls are kicking. It goes, "Oh Pat O'Day, we love you more and more. Oh Pat O'Day, you're the boy that we adore. Your leg is ever sure and true, and always kicks a goal or two. The team and rooters worship you. Oh Pat O'Day."
Wow.
That's the dream, to have the rooters worship.
Oh, yeah, you want the rooters on your side, that's for sure.
I wonder, is that still an American term? I wonder. Rooters.
It's beautiful.
That's so beautiful.
So beautiful.
Imagine having the rooters worship you.
That's a dream.
Dream come true.
Yeah.
Not only did he have a super boot, O'Day was also super quick, using his pace to return a kickoff for a 90-yard touchdown in an 1899 game. So he's run the length of the field basically to score a touchdown. And in that same game, he also kicked 4 field goals. He was a freak.
Wow.
Just a wild idea watching the modern game. The kickers will come, or the punters, 2 different roles now. I think he was sort of doing them all, as well as being on the field in general play. But in the modern game, a kicker or the punter will kick and then go off the ground.
Go off and have a smoke.
Going off, yeah, they'd probably have a nap.
Have an orange.
And that's the role. The punters is the role that most Australians go over to play, because I guess we just learn to kick from a young age, and that's just... I guess most American kids aren't going, I want to be that bit part player on the team.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's a dream. You get paid millions of dollars to kick and then sit down.
Yeah.
That is a dream. No one's, like, crushing you.
Yeah.
180-kilo man isn't jumping on top of you. This is fantastic news.
There was a play that made the news a little bit a few years ago when one of the Australian punters made a tackle after he kicked. And people were like, they don't normally do that. He's like, I used to play a game where you did all the bits.
That's really
He
funny.
wasn't even wearing the pads.
Yeah.
He didn't have shoes on. He'd actually been off the field. He was just putting his little eye mask on for his nap, and he thought, oh, I could get him. So he did.
He tackled a straker. These security wusses couldn't get him.
Yeah, that is fun. There's a number of instances where an Australian sports person on the field tackled a streaker, or like there's that time when there was a streaker in a cricket game and the batsman hit him in the nads with his bat. or that time when the pig was on the field and that Sydney player tackled it.
Yeah, that's right.
That'd make a great compilation video.
Yeah, beautiful. But also over the top of it, you have to be playing like waltzing Matilda or something. And it's one of those videos you watch when you're overseas and you're a bit homesick.
And just the commentary and stuff cut together becomes our new national anthem.
Yeah, well, it's so beautiful.
God bless us.
My culture.
So he wasn't only quick on the football field though. He was also on the athletics team at the university as a hurdler, and at one point held the 300-meter hurdles world record.
What is he studying law as well?
And he's also studying law.
This guy's ridiculous.
Amazing. So, like I said before, he was relatively slim for a footballer, and that led to him being frequently injured, as he was also a big weapon. So the other teams would target him physically as well. This physical threat led to an emotional plea from his old Melbourne neighbour, none other than famed opera singer Dame Nellie Melba.
What?
He just lived next door to it.
Yeah, they were just Melbourne neighbours growing up. So
She lived in Melbourne?
well, this is I didn't really realise that either. But this is what was written about at the time. This physical threat to his well-being led to an emotional plea from his former neighbour in Melbourne, the famous singer Dame Nellie Melba. According to Collins, when the prominent pair met up after one of her shows in Chicago, it was reported that Melba sought by every means to secure his promise that he would never again risk his life and limb in that game she called the The brutal football game you were playing here in America. That brutal football game. Melba was born Helen Porter Mitchell and apparently took on the pseudonym Melba as a shortening of her hometown of Melbourne.
Oh.
I didn't realise it. It seems obvious now. I just thought it was a weird coincidence.
Yeah, that's nice.
Melba's face is on the Australian $100 bill. I think we might have even talked about this briefly last week.
Yeah.
And I
did not know Dame Nelly was on the 100. I don't see a lot of hundos.
No, I don't see a lot of them
Well,
either.
obviously I know Sir John Monash is on the other side because I only use $100
I know,
bills.
it's really annoying when we're just buying a coffee. He keeps doing it.
Fucking hell, mate.
Can you put it on card or something? You don't have any coins. It's $4. You're like, nope.
He pulls out his little money clip.
What do you do with the change then for the hundo?
Throw it in the bin.
Hey, let's play a fun little game. Whenever you use a hundo and you've got all that pesky change, give it to me.
Yeah,
well, you
great.
can get it out of the bin, mate.
Call
Earn
me
it.
the bin.
Earn the money. Yeah.
That's my nickname.
Call
The
my
bin.
wallet the bin. But, you know, calling them hundos, I reckon we should be calling them Melbas.
Yeah, that's way better.
Making Melbas. You know, they talk about spending
that's good.
Benjamins or something in America.
Making Melbas.
Making Melbas. I feel like
I
that
love
could be
that.
something.
That'll only set you back a couple of Melbas.
Yeah. Oh,
That's good. That's real good. Let's start that.
I think we should start it.
Tweet it.
Tweet it?
Your tweets are always A, taken as they're intended, and B, viral.
Oh, yeah.
Got a 100% success rate
Big
with
virality
virality
on Twitter.
Yeah. And yeah, just people just getting it.
Yeah.
Just understanding irony, understanding joke. Very obvious jokes, obviously, so that's why they get it so easily.
It is fun when people discover sort of a level of irony in what I've said. I'm like, oh, yeah, thank you for pointing that out. That was not built in.
This was an incredibly genuine thought I had that I thought I'd share. But it's so funny that you've picked up on some irony that
Really
was
do
not
appreciate that
intentional,
very
obviously.
much. Anyway, so O'Day, not only dominant athlete, he was also a bit of a heartthrob on campus.
Oh my God.
Day by day, but by night.
Obey. Sounds a bit creepy, actually.
Apparently, UW students called him, quote, a handsome, congenial, carefree individual with a flair for the unusual, which I don't... What does that mean?
Oh, what's he doing?
There's
He's
no-
into some kinky shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Missionary.
Yeah, he calls it, yeah, old school.
Yeah.
In Wisconsin, that's seen as very
That's...
quirky.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's not that much info on him online. A
Yeah.
lot of it is similar stories, you know, across multiple sources. It seems like the most in-depth one is the one I've been quoting from, mainly the Collins one. But yeah, I love the idea that has a flair for the unusual, and that it's very unclear what that means. This is another bit of art that was written about him. It was a poem that was published in the 1900 University Yearbook. The grandstand is a howling mass. The lines are crowded thick. Now centre makes a clever pass when Pat goes back to kick. Unerringly the pigskin flies above the gold cross sticks. The rooters rah-rahs rend the skies when Pat goes back to kick. Other rooters.
Rooters,
Big fan of
rah-rahs.
rooters.
The rooters, rah-rahs.
Rah-rahs. Rah-rah. Is that what they're...
Yeah.
Rah, rah, Rasputin.
Lover of the Russian queen.
I think that's one of the big cultural differences between America and Australia. They'll kick a pigskin, we kick a bull's bladder.
Yeah. But, you know, at the end of the day, we all put our pants on one leg at a time. We're not so different.
When his college career ended following his graduation from UW...
Oh, so what, you're going to stop playing for them because you're not a student there anymore?
Yeah.
Okay.
He should have watched Van Wilder. Just pick up a few extra little units or whatever.
Never leave.
You can hang around for ages.
And Van Wilder stars whom?
I think he plays himself.
Matt,
Van
famously.
Wilder. Jeremy Jackson?
Cannot
No.
remember.
Is that anyone?
Jeremy Jackson is...
No, that's no one.
You think you have Joshua Jackson?
Sure.
Because not him either.
Okay. Oh, James Vanderbeek.
It's James Vanderbeek.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Heartthrob James Vanderbeek.
Yeah.
What a guy.
God, he's good.
He's very good. Also plays Deadpool.
Yes, that's
yes,
right.
he does. He's very good, James Van Der Beek.
I love James Van Der Beek.
What great range.
From Van Wilder all the way up to Deadpool. I love about him is he's always kind of the same guy. Sometimes he's wearing a superhero costume.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's not James Van Der Beek.
But genuinely big fan of James Van Der Beek's work in those two films and others. Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place. One of his
another
classics.
good one of James Van Der Beek.
So his college career ended. This isn't Van Der Beek anymore. I know he did play in Varsity Blues. He was also played this game, but I'm talking about Paddy O'Day. After he left University of Wisconsin, he became the non-playing coach of Notre Dame. Am I saying that right, Dave?
Oh, yeah, absolutely nailed it.
Non-playing coach.
Yes.
Are there playing coaches?
Yeah, I think it may be more so back then, but in Aussie rules, there was playing coaches until not that long ago.
Really?
Yeah, maybe there was one in the 80s, but it was pretty common before that. And in suburban footy, you'll still get it a bit.
A playing coach.
Yeah.
How do you... I mean, well, what better place to coach from?
That's right.
Than right in someone's face.
Yeah.
Timo, I said...
Kick it to me.
Remember, rule number 1. Kick it to me.
So would there be a playing coach and a captain still?
Yeah, you imagine just
power
captain
dynamic.
coach, right?
Power dynamic is all
Yeah.
over the place there.
Yeah,
But
that's
the captain
true.
said to do this. Well, I'm the coach. Captain doesn't mean shit. If I'm out here, Timo, you'll kick it to me. No, sorry, ref. We're having a chat here. Won't be a moment. You kick it to me, Timo.
Well, I'm also the ref. So. And the bar manager, so if you want a fucking beer after the game, you'll kick it to me.
You'll kick it to me. I don't care that you've got a clean shot. I don't care that I don't.
I don't care that I'm 80 metres in the other direction. Kick it backwards.
I don't care that I'm not on the pitch right now. You will kick it to me. It's just a really menacing coach.
He's a nightmare.
Are you getting an insight into what I'll be like as a coach / parent?
Any sort of power. Bob's been given a small amount of power.
As a coach / parent, you're saying to your kid, kick it to me.
Kick it to me.
But Mum, this is under 7s.
I will kill you if you don't kick it to me. Too far. Okay.
Well, no.
Good to know where a line is. Kill you when we play Call of Duty later.
Yeah. I think
Virtually.
threatening
Well, you're
kids with that kind of violence to motivate.
Exactly.
What? That's going to cause lifelong issues, is it? Give me a break. Kids these days, too soft.
So anyway, he's the non-playing coach of Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
One of the all-time great...
Butchering of the language.
Well, how do the French say it?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. Okay. I reckon
Notre Dame.
I'm going to split the difference. No, I think...
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame. I think one of the classic film puns, if this is a pun, the quarterback of Notre Dame instead of the hunchback of Notre Dame. Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, is that a film?
Yeah. What's the
Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah. So instead of Hunchback of Notre Dame,
The quarterback
of
Notre
Notre Dame.
I like that.
Bit of fun.
That is a bit of fun.
That's great work.
Like a straight to TV kind of film.
You didn't know the Hunchback of Notre Dame?
No, I don't know the quarterback of Notre Dame.
Okay.
I reckon it got funding
Okay.
as soon as they just put the name forward on a piece of paper, sit it across the table.
I said, how much you want? I'm going to double it. There you go. You want 10 mil? Fucking have 50. Make
I
it
don't even
amazing.
know maths.
I don't care. Have this. Go.
Go. Make it.
Leave my office.
If you can get JTT or someone like that, who I
Yeah.
reckon would have starred in it, because it was like a mid-90s kind of film.
JTT's in there.
So while he was there coaching, the team's mascot was a live kangaroo, which would bound up and down the...
No fucking
Sideline.
way.
No, don't like that.
Did they audition them?
Yeah.
That
How many push-ups can they
kangaroo
do?
It wrote an amazing sketch.
Oh, beautiful sketch.
It was thought-provoking.
Yeah.
It was funny. It was poignant.
And the callback at the end, wrapping it all together.
Oh my god,
Wow.
it was so nuanced.
Yes.
So it's running up and down the side. Is it like
They don't run,
fenced
Dave.
in?
They don't fucking run.
Is it hopping in a fenced area, or can it just enter the crowd if it felt like it?
Yeah,
Hop.
I mean, they can bounce.
What are they, a fucking rabbit? They don't hop.
Good luck keeping him in a fenced in anywhere.
Even at the zoo, we have to walk through their enclosure.
They used to try and put them in their own thing, but you can't.
They just kick the bars out. Pew!
So his coaching record that year was really strong. 14 wins, 2 losses, 2 ties. Very good record. But his time with Notre Dame ended in really strange circumstances. Again, I haven't been able to qualify this anywhere else. But see if you can make sense of this. According to Collins, before the final game in 1901, he mysteriously decided to play for the opposition. He's a non-playing coach for Notre Dame, but instead, for some reason, the last game of the year, he played for the professional South Bend Studebakers, who they were playing against that week. He then incurred the wrath of his new teammates when they suffered an upset defeat after being baffled by Notre Dame's tactical moves. So he played for the opposition and lost.
What?
And then his new teammates hated him because his coaching was so good of the team that he wasn't playing for.
Oh, it's baffling.
And that's strange.
His team that he coaches is presumably also mad at him for going to the other team?
Yeah, they sacked him.
Not surprising.
Do you think this
How
is
wicked
like...
is that?
Here's what I think's happened. You guys have seen Dodgeball?
Yeah.
I think...
Dive, duck, dodge, dive.
Duck.
Dodge.
Rip torn. Amazing. I think what it is like he's been blackmailed.
Oh, okay.
I said, you'll come play with us. And he's like, okay, I'll come play with you.
Mm.
I can't guarantee a win. My
Yeah.
teams are very good.
He's winking whenever he says it. Yeah, I'll play with you.
I'll play with you. And then he's just like sipping a cup of tea on the side. He's like, what? I'm on the field.
I'm playing with
I'm
you.
here. I'm ready for a ball if you want to head it my way.
He's like, playing with you. Oh, where I come from, that means sort of messing with you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I'm playing with you.
I'm playing with you. And he's still winking. It's all very confusing. I think he's been blackmailed.
Yeah. Do you think that they've said, play for us or the kangaroo gets it?
I think they've said,
no.
we have got very incriminating sketches of you. I don't know if cameras are around. And we will release him.
So he had a dominant season as coach
Yeah.
and then was sacked because he did this weird thing playing for the other team.
It's so weird.
So strange.
What an odd thing to do. And it's so long ago, we don't have any insight into why.
Yeah, there'd be all sorts of articles about it now that you could read, but yeah.
Other than blackmail. So I'm still standing by that.
So after that, he coached Missouri for a season in 1902. Again, he had a winning season there, but moved on again. Starting to think, is he a nightmare or something? Why is he?
Yeah.
He's not hanging on to these jobs. But he was so loved at UW. Loved him. He then became football coach and athletics director at the American School of Osteopathy, maybe?
Right.
Which sounds pretty prestigious as a sporting school, I'm sure. But it seems he may have lied on his resume, saying he'd graduated with a Bachelor of Arts from Melbourne University in 1893, which obviously he didn't do. This led to him being sacked again, and this proved to be the end of his involvement in top-flight football. After this, he went to San Francisco and is said to have helped popularise Australian rules football in the US as a participation sport by training San Fran school children in the kicking game. And they had this weird new game that was called like field kicking or something, field football or something.
Field kicking. What you do is you go out in them fields.
And there's an old article that I was reading where I think it was an Australian article saying there was going to be a shipment of American school kids from San Francisco going to come over and play against Aussie kids in some sort of version of that game. And that was all helped set up by him. But from there, he disappeared from public view, seemingly vanishing into thin air around the time of World War I. According to Griffin, a futile worldwide search reaching to Australia was made. But obviously being futile, they just couldn't find him. He just sort of disappeared off the face of the earth.
It's easy to do that back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd say a lot easier. Yeah.
Now I just just look at my Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is.
You're like,
dumbass.
here I am. Don't tell anyone. I'm disappeared.
Don't tell anyone, but this is my address. And I've changed my name.
People's best guess was that he joined an Australian army regiment and was killed somewhere in France, which is what his brother believed. Decades passed, and then...
Like, the family would be notified, usually, of people's death.
Yeah, you'd think so.
Unless he'd like sign up under a different name.
That's true.
Why would he do that? What's he hiding? Who's got something on him?
So that blackmail's happened again?
Yeah, I reckon blackmail's happened again. A war has blackmailed him.
decades had gone by. In 1934, plans were hatched to create a memorial in his honour. This is like, pushing 20 years since he was last seen. According to Collins, though, around this time, San Francisco Chronicle sports writer Bill Lesser had received a tip-off that O'Day was living in a small town of Westwood, deep in the Sierra Nevada mountains in northeastern California. Then 62, O'Day had been living there for 15 years under the assumed name of Charles J. Mitchell.
What?
He took Charles from his younger brother's name and Mitchell from Dame Nellie Melba's original name. And he was working as a clerk or a clerk for a lumber company. News of O'Day's secret life was a bombshell, creating breathless headlines across 2 continents.
Breathless headlines.
O'Day found.
How are they spelling that? It's amazing.
In Madison, it even overshadowed the arrest of the kidnapper of Lindbergh's baby.
It overshadowed that.
Apparently.
The crime of the century.
Not in Madison.
Wow.
Whoa.
Which is where Lindbergh went to uni.
Yeah. Obviously didn't make enough of a mark while he was there.
Not like the Kangaroo Kicker.
He had plenty of marks.
O'Day claimed his football fame had been a handicap in business, as it was all anyone wanted to talk to him about. He's like, I just want to be a lawyer or be a business guy. But everyone's just like, oh, man, remember when you kicked that ball real good? He's like, I just want to...
It's like, of course I remember I was there.
I was there.
Now let's talk litigation.
Let's talk business. Let's talk brass tacks.
I thought like a bunch of like ex-VFL people often become like good salesmen because they go around to like the tyre yard and everyone's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Sav Rocker's here. And everyone wants to go talk to him and then, oh, anyway, while I'm here, boys, you want to buy a few of these?
Yeah.
That'll mean I get his mobile number on his card.
Oh, sick. So you give them a couple of stories from the good old days and they go, yeah, great, we'll sign up.
Yeah, that is true. That would be
my other sales rep hasn't fucking played shit. Fucking fuck.
I mean, he's like incredible salesman. Gets me a great deal. But he's not interesting for me to tell other people about.
That's right. I want to say that I've got O'Day's personal mobile number.
I don't even care if it is a work phone which sits in a drawer and you will ignore. I need to know I can contact you.
This is what O'Day said at the time. I wanted to get away from what seemed to me to be all in the past. As Pat O'Day, I seemed to be very much just an ex-Wisconsin football player. I was very happy as Mitchell for a while. Later, I often found it rather unpleasant not to be the man I actually am. So I'm going to be Pat O'Day for the rest of my life. Perhaps I should never have been anything else. So he was just saying it was just business. He just wanted to disappear a bit, become anonymous again for a while. However, there were probably more sinister motives for O'Day's self-imposed exile.
Uh-oh.
In 1919, he'd been charged with embezzling $3,000 in stock valued at $1,500 from a client and was due to appear before a grand jury in San Francisco. But then he went missing.
Okay.
Feels like it could be a coincidence.
It's business.
Yeah.
I was sick of being recognised by people wanting me to go to court, giving me affidavits.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, leave me alone.
Are you Patrick O'Day? Well, you've been summoned.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
I'm sick of it. Oh, I remember when you kicked good. Oh, see you in court on Wednesday. It's exhausting.
I just want to go live in the
I
mountains.
just want to live in the mountains and be a businessman.
Apparently, running away from the charge didn't seem to make any big dent on his re-entry into society as Pat O'Day, with the public welcoming him back with open arms. According to Collins, the born-again O'Day was completely unprepared for his overwhelming reception from the sporting public. He received a rapturous welcome on his homecoming to UW. People packed the streets for a glimpse of the legend, greeting him with, quote, lusty cheers and singing...
Lusty. Woohoo. Like
Shimmy. Bit of gyration going on.
Ooh, hey. Rah.
Lusty cheers. That's funny.
The man of the moment, who was always referred to by the US media as former Australian rugby star, which is not true.
Not correct.
Revelled in the adulation, as he would for the last 3 decades of his life. According to Griffin, After his re-emergence, he returned to San Francisco where he joined an export business. His last occupation was as office manager for a clothing firm where people are just going, getting selfies, buying a couple of shirts.
Yeah.
Bought a shirt from O'Day.
Can you believe it?
In 1952, America's greatest football hero was given a testimonial banquet by a Wisconsin alumni. He deplored the loss of kicking skills in contemporary gridiron, saying, "The boys don't follow through enough." In his view, Australian rules football was the better game. It allowed players more spectator appeal with its faster action.
Okay.
Very different games. It's funny how people go. It's just classic sort of nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's better when I played it.
Of course.
People talk about footy all the time like that. People who are like in their 30s and 40s are like, it's best in the 90s. It's like from, professional sports journalists to people down the pub.
Yeah.
So many people talk like that. It's like, I reckon the kids of today disagree.
Yeah.
You watch an old game, it's like, oh, this is a bit of a mess.
Yeah.
There are great things about it, but it's changed. It's just funny. It's like, you reckon it's anything to do with when you were just a kid and football was more magical to you?
You had a lot more time to just watch sport.
Yeah.
Now you can only do that at the sacrifice of other boring tasks.
I know people will be yelling at their iPod now going, no, it was better in the 90s. And definitely there were some things about it that were better in the 90s. Don't get me wrong.
But when you're saying everything was better when you were about 15 to 18, then it's probably a little bit of nostalgia, and that being an adult is sometimes hard and tedious.
Yes. It was great when, you used to kick more goals back then. That was pretty good.
Yep.
But you watch it and it is just like, sometimes it's just the ball bouncing backwards and forwards. They say the skills aren't as good now, but I reckon they're definitely better now.
Heaps
if you
of
watch
stuff was way worse back then too. Heaps
bring back
worse.
the biff, honestly. Bring back the biff. Can't even knock people out behind the play anymore.
Can't even coward punch anymore.
You don't have to have a second job anymore. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
You have to focus full time on the game.
Oh, these bloody footy players today with their, I'm getting a massage on my muscles. I finished a footy game and went to work in the mine.
I butchered Monday to Friday. Then had a kick on a Saturday.
Okay, and you know what I did to recover? Had a beer.
Had a smoke and a pie at half
Had a
time.
smoke and a pie and a beer and a root.
And honestly, the skills were just much more professional back then.
We knew more about the body back then.
O'Day had famous admirers right until the end, being invited onto Bob Hope's All-American Football Team announcement shows.
What is that?
I think it must have just been like a weekly show or maybe a yearly show where they'd announce the team of the year or something. Again, I could not find much more information about it.
Interesting.
But according to Collins, this is the thing I'm going to finish with, links back to a recent topic. According to Collins, among the hundreds of people to send 90th birthday wishes to O'Day in March of 1962 were then President John F. Kennedy, whose note opened with, "As a fellow son of Erin and long-time admirer," which is interesting because he wasn't born when O'Day played, so yeah.
Wow.
That sort of says how big his legend was.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah, wow.
Even though it doesn't... I mean, had you heard of it? I hadn't heard of it.
No, I hadn't heard of it. And
No.
it's like, we should have.
It seems like we really should have, right? Yeah, it's strange.
It's a real sporting legend, and we love sporting legends here.
I know, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I assume son of Erin means son of Irish people?
Yeah.
Is it Erin... Is it Ireland, land of Erin or something?
How's that spelt?
E-R-I-N, apparently, but...
No, that's not... I mean, that's not Ireland in Irish.
No.
But I'm guessing it's, yeah.
That's something... Yeah, because they both are kids of Irish people.
Yeah.
Are they both Catholics?
Yeah, I think... probably. It seems like Kilmore was a real Catholic sort of place.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
People up in the Big Smoke hated it when that Catholic girl was premier. But that was interesting because that made me think of that as well, because JFK... you said one of his biggest hurdles to become president was that he was an Irish Catholic.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's funny that was a problem in Melbourne as well. I don't think I was ever aware of it. Although that O'Shannessy overcame that.
Yeah. Bravely.
On the 3rd of April 1962, he was elected to the College Football Hall of Fame, which was a huge honour. But all good things must come to an end, and he died of cancer the following day on the 4th of April 1962 at the University of California Hospital in San Francisco.
Wow.
Sounds like one of those classic things where he was just holding on for that announcement or something like that, but...
Wow. And so he would have just stayed in the US his whole life, essentially,
that's right.
didn't he? Like, how young was he when he went over?
24.
Yeah, right. So this is where my brain has gone. Definitely got an American accent by this point. Like, that's all I was thinking for a lot of this. I was like, probably doesn't sound Aussie anymore.
Probably doesn't even hardly say cobber anymore.
Yeah, he's not one of us now.
Would have been... I wonder what the Australian accent was back then in the late 1800s. How developed it was.
Yeah, true. It's probably sounding quite
English. And
English.
what the American accent was back then as well.
Yeah.
Being interesting to
Probably
see.
all sounding fairly English.
I'm sure I've said this before, but I find that fascinating how an accent develops. And, and it blew my mind a couple of years ago when I saw a video of some 20 to 30-year-old Melburnians doing vox pops recently. There's an old tape. And I think of old man, old woman voice, being like, oh, hello, dear.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, that's not old person voice. That's just how they always talked.
Yeah.
It's not like you start talking like that when you get older.
Right. Yeah. It's not like when we're old, we're suddenly going to be wearing cardigans, pearls, and playing chess. Like nursing homes for us, we're going to be in boardies and t-shirts.
Yeah, that's right.
And like oversized clothes, and we're going to be playing video games.
And people are going to be like, oh, look at their grandpas and grandmas playing their video games.
It's just how they always were.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's such a funny realization. Like, obviously, that's the case.
Nah, but you just don't have that. It takes a while to get to that realization. You're like, oh yeah, of course.
But it's so funny to hear like a 28-year-old saying, "Oh yes,
yeah,
oh it's marvelous, isn't it?
Oh no, I think a woman should stay home. It's always those. I think a woman should stay home and look after the children. These women who want to work. Oh, I just don't think that. Oh no, and you're like." Oh, fuck.
So that is the end of my report on the Kangaroo Kicker, Patty O'Day or Pat O'Day, which I just found to be a fascinating story and so interesting that it doesn't seem to be well known.
Yeah, great one.
At all.
And so you just came across that sort of article.
I'm not sure even how I stumbled across it because no one suggested into the hat. This was my captain's
free choice.
pick.
Yeah, a captain's pick is a way better way of phrasing it. What a great story. And surprising that, we hadn't heard of him, that it's not sort of a well-known name because he sounds like the type of person that Australia loves to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. And I love it. His connections to his Nellie Melba's mate.
Yeah.
She's on the $100 note. Kick off bloody Monash on the other side.
Yeah, fuck
Get
off
off there,
Monash.
mate.
O'Day, imagine a Melba and O'Day back together again.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Next door neighbours.
as they should have been.
Oh, that would be lovely.
Let's have a word.
And JFK somehow becoming a long-time admirer.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
Yeah, I don't quite understand how that would have even happened, or if that's just he's got a pile of letters on his desk and it's can you sign these or
when you get a letter from the Queen on your anniversary or something.
Oh no, she means those. They're from the heart.
She's like, Eddie and Dorothy's anniversary's coming up. I better remember to write him a card.
Yeah.
But maybe he was a fan of him being an office manager of a fashion firm.
That's true.
Yeah, he's like, love your work.
Oh my goodness, your pants are fantastic.
Just the best.
Maybe he really made a mark on Bob Hope's All-American announcements.
Big fan of the announcements.
Or just heard of the fact that he kicked a ball 110 yards.
Yeah, it must be legendary.
Yeah.
And the fact that he is an Irish guy, yeah.
And surely you don't write, I'm a long-time admirer if you're full of shit. You'd say something else like...
I've heard good things.
I've
heard good things.
Personally, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Hey, good on ya. Happy birthday.
Bloody good on ya.
Now, welcome to everyone's favourite section of the show where we get to thank a few of our great supporters. If you want to get involved, you can support us at dogoonpod.com or patreon.com/dogoonpod. There's a bunch of different levels, all sorts of different rewards. What are some of the rewards you can get, Bob?
You get 3 bonus episodes a month. You get access to a newsletter that comes out sometimes. You get premiere access to tickets to live shows. And you also get to be part of a beautiful Facebook group, a lovely community.
So nice.
So lovely. But yeah, lots of different perks.
You also get shout-outs, which we're going to do now. The first one on the Sydney Scheinberg level, get to fact, quote, or question section, which I think has a jingle that goes something like this.
Fact, quote, or question.
Ding! Always remembers the ding. Now, to be involved in this, you just sign up on the Sydney Scheinberg level. You give us a fact, a quote, or a question. I'll read them out on the show. I'll read them out for the first time when I read them out, which makes sense. There's no screening.
No.
You say it,
not.
I read it.
He could read them ahead of time, and he won't.
I refuse to.
Yeah.
Because I think that'd be letting down these great supporters.
Exactly, yeah.
They don't need to be censored, usually. The first one this week comes from David Loring. And also, the fact, quote, or question, also gets to give themselves a title. David's given themselves the title of Chief Landscaper of the Grassy Knoll.
Oh.
Very important job. Very, very high traffic area for tourism these days.
You'd be pretty pissed off, actually, that that was the reason that Grassy Knoll was famous, because you'd put so much work into the landscaping. And you're like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, sure, just come and see. Don't have a look around at the landscape or anything.
Yeah.
Got that crisscross pattern?
Yeah.
No one noticed the flowers I imported from Africa?
Okay. Those are quite rare and very high maintenance.
Yeah. They're not even grass. Sure, it's a knoll.
Yeah.
But it's a rosy knoll.
And it's beautiful.
That's what we used to call it before it got rebranded.
Are the conspiracy theorists? What are they going to wreck next? Anyway, David has given us a fact this week. David writes, there's a Romanian phrase that comes in handy when describing a tendency of weather that's handy for anyone in Melbourne and further south. It is soiree coudint. That's what the rough phonetics of the word is. Translates to sun with teeth and refers to a day that looks nice, a sunny day, clear blue skies, but is still very cold and not nice to be outside in.
Yeah.
I would have thought sun with teeth would have meant like it's you are going to get burnt.
Yeah.
Yeah, high UV warning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're nasty days. They're the days where it looks beautiful and when you're in the sun it's nice. If you're planning a beer garden day or something like that, or any sort of outdoor activity,
Yeah.
and you don't bring a jumper,
Yeah.
and you're caught, oh man,
Awful.
nasty.
Not
Won't make
good.
that mistake again.
Yeah.
What about cloud with teeth? That's when it looks overcast, but it is a high UV warning.
Yeah, they're
If you're out there for 6 hours, you're going to get burnt anyway.
Yeah.
they're
and you're
the
like, I'll be
biggest burning
fine.
days.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's great. I love that. Sun with teeth. Soiree coudint.
I like that a lot.
Thank you very much, David. Next one comes from Tessa Chilcott, giving themselves the title of Contessa of Tessas.
Ooh, love that very much.
Now, what does that translate to? What's a Contessa?
A Contessa is like a count.
Right. Oh, right. Love it. Contessa of Tessas. And Tessa has offered a fact as well. Writing, I just had my wisdom teeth removed. Huge drama, but that's another story. Because the dentists and other dental people have been so fascinated with the fact I still have one baby molar tooth. No adult tooth to push it out.
Oh.
I've been looking at teeth facts because of this. Apparently, it's very common for adults to sometimes retain baby teeth. Not that I've become defensive.
It's actually very common.
Actually, it's more common than you would think. Okay, thank you for being self-aware. That is how it read a little.
Yeah, I know like 4 people, so.
It's fine. I'm in a Facebook group.
Anywho, my fact is this. Prior to 1960, people really thought that toothaches were caused by a toothworm who lived in your gums.
Yuck.
Prior to 1960? That's recent. For me, an old man.
Yeah, that's like my grandpa would have been in dental school in the 50s, so was he being taught that?
Yes.
Wow.
That was one. Yeah.
Did he ever warn you about the worm in your mouth?
He did say that a lot.
Yeah.
There was a whole unit about dental worms. So, if the worm was resting, you had no pain. They thought the worms would enter the tooth, have a bit of a feast, and then cause no end of issues.
What?
Suppose it was how they explained all the terrible teeth falling out of their mouths. I'm ready to be done with teeth, so thanks for keeping me company during this week from hell. I'd saved up a few episodes to listen to while I was recovering. Can't remember much. Thanks to the painkillers.
Love those painkillers.
Jesse, you on painkillers?
Right now?
Is that your issue why you can't remember the episodes?
Yes. Constantly on painkillers.
But Tessa says, because of that, That means I'll enjoy listening again. Thanks heaps. I'll shut up now.
Oh,
Thank you so much, Tessa.
No need to shut up.
Great fact.
That's wild.
Huge if true.
Teeth are fucked. We had a story on Simply the Jest one time of a girl who, I think it was genetic in her family. She essentially had this condition where she...
Not genetic outside of her family.
Sorry. She lost her baby teeth like 3 or 4 times. She had like multiple sets of baby teeth that would come through and then she'd lose all those.
Oh.
Cashing in with the tooth
How
fairy.
traumatic is that?
Yeah.
That's full on. I
It's a
think she's
weird
like,
Groundhog Day.
we're like, have you got more? She's like, I think I'm done. Like, oh, but that's terrifying.
Yeah. That feels like some sort of a dental worm curse.
Yeah. And I don't have enough teeth. Like I think I have the amount that a
Can you
child
ever
has
have
when they're
enough
about
teeth?
8. And that's what I've got.
Yeah, right.
I don't have that many teeth.
So you never got the wisdoms? Is they the last ones?
But I've had them out. I was like, honestly, leave them in.
Yeah.
I need 'em.
I need them.
I need just for numbers.
They all count.
Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah,
just a little
right.
fun fact there for you.
I don't know if I love teeth stuff.
Nah, teeth. I hate teeth stuff.
You know that seeing like an X-ray where the teeth are above the other teeth? Don't love that. Anyway, you never say stuff like that on a podcast because someone will definitely send me a photo now.
Yes, I will.
Not our lovely listeners. Next one comes from Paul Meller. Great Saints supporter, Paul, over in England. I follow him on Twitter. He also posts the nicest photos on his morning walks. Always make me feel real nice. Now,
Nice
Paul
one.
That's lovely.
has given himself the title of Lord Meller of Meller Manor.
Oof. That's fun to say.
That is fun to say.
Lord Meller of Meller Manor.
Lord
Ooh.
Meller of Meller Manor.
I enjoy that so much.
Paul has asked a question. Paul writes, I have a question inspired by Matt's recent Keen for Neen tweets. Oh, yeah, I recently tweeted about Neenish tarts.
Yes.
Which I didn't realise they're an Australian thing. Seems like a Sydney
yeah, right.
origin. Anyway, maybe that's where this is going. Paul asks, what is your favourite tart or sweet baked treat? Paul has answered the question.
Love that. Thank you, Paul. Okay, so let's narrow it down. Let's say Country Bakery.
Yes.
You going in, what are you getting?
Oh, okay. Pie, obviously.
Obviously getting a pie. I'm getting a cheese and salad roll. Nothing better than a bakery cheese and salad.
It does say specifically sweet baked treat,
Yeah,
though, Dave.
but
You're going to a sweet pie?
that's your meal.
Okay,
There's always a dessert.
Yeah, come on. We're washing it down.
Oh, yeah.
You have to get a sweet treat when you're at a country
I'm
bakery.
going to pasty. Love a pasty
Yeah,
sauce.
yum. Yeah, pasty or yum. I'd be doing that or this. No, I'm going to stick with my chicken salad. My cheese and salad, not chicken salad. Cheese and salad. Okay, desserts, Dave.
Jelly slice.
Oh, my mum
I don't
makes a
think
pretty
I've
good.
ever had one of those.
Mum makes a pretty good jelly
Oh,
slice.
I'd love to have it.
Yeah, yum.
I've gone through different phases. As a kid, I had a Neenish tart every time. I remember the bakery in Kyneton, which doesn't exist anymore. I tried to go back to it on Piper Street, not there.
What a bummer.
Yeah, it was a bit of a bummer. It was so good, like real strong nostalgia memories. But I've had a few Neenish tarts since, and they're pretty full on in terms of sweetness. And then I reckon for a while I loved a vanilla slice. Loved it until someone called it a
Snot block.
and I couldn't eat them anymore. And then
mate.
fruit flans for a little while, quite enjoyed. Now I'm probably, I don't know what, I don't have the biggest sweet tooth anymore, but probably a donut maybe.
Yeah.
Like a choc ice donut or something. Yeah, what else is there?
Dad would always get lemon tarts.
Oh yeah, I love a
We'd have
lemon
those,
tart. They're good.
Jam tarts, lemon tart.
Lemon tart's it's an older person thing. It's one of
Yeah.
those classic, just want to taste something, and these taste full
Oh,
on.
they are full on.
Yeah.
And it's such a strange texture now that I'm
Yeah,
thinking about
yeah.
it, but I'm also like salivating a little bit, like I want one. It wasn't, because it's not like a custardy kind of tart or like a baked tart. It's just like a lemon goo
Yeah.
in a little pastry. It's really delicious. Or maybe like a cinnamon donut. That's what I'd go for.
Yeah, nice.
What has Paul said?
What did you go
Jelly
for?
slice.
Oh, that's right.
But if it has to be a tart, I love a Portuguese tart.
Doesn't have to be a tart, yeah.
Sorry,
Fantastic.
Dave, I am on painkillers. Paul writes, mine is a custard tart. It is my go-to tart when I fancy a little treat. Not sure if these are just UK thing. We definitely have them. They have the feel of something that could have started over there, though, probably.
That is my dad's go-to.
Close seconds are strawberry tart or Wimbury pie. That sounds very good. I haven't heard of that.
What is a Wimbury pie?
Do we have one of those?
And yeah, I'm not sure what a strawberry tart would be, but I guess it's just a strawberry version of a lemon tart.
Beautiful.
I guess it's a tart with strawberry in it. Paul says, keep up the great work. You are on fire with Blocktober this year. At the time of writing this, we are patiently waiting to find out what is number one. All the best, Paul. Well, hopefully you were satisfied. I think countdowns of popular votes, or any countdowns, people are always going to be like, oh, that was the number one, was it?
Yeah, of course.
But the feedback's been really positive this year, which I appreciate. I think generally our listeners are lovely people. And that is probably why. Thank you very much, Paul. Have you seen you're trying to find a Wimbury tart? A Wimbury pie?
I found one.
No, my computer's just shut itself.
An article here. Has there ever been a fruit with as many different names? Wimbury, Winberry, Winberry, Windberry, Bilberry, Hurtleberry, Whortleberry. It's
Hurtleberry's amazing.
It's a little purple.
Oh, that looks delicious.
Inside, as I'm looking at an image.
Oh, that looks lovely. Love to look at that,
very
Paul.
keen to try.
Thank you very much, Paul. The final one this week comes from Gary J from the UK.
Gary.
And Gary's given himself the title of the Vice President of the fan club for the sister of the former President, Eunice Mary Kennedy.
Great work, Eunice.
Great work, Eunice. Love the name, love your vibe, love you.
Love everything about you.
Love you, Eunice. And Gary J asks a question. He writes, hee hee.
Oh, that's great.
Just the way you say it is so cute.
I don't know how else you say it.
Hee
Hee hee.
hee.
He writes, hee hee. I was wondering if any of you can speak another language, or if you could learn a new one, which would it be? And Gary has gone on to answer the question, but do you want to answer before he does, or do you want me to read his out first?
What's Gary's?
Gary says, at the moment, me and Nat, my wife, are trying to learn British Sign Language, just as a bit of fun. I learned Makaton, signing for children, when I worked with kids. It was really fun and rewarding teaching them to do it. Little bit of a brag there. Hee hee. Because, of course, this section is now Fat Quote or Question, Brag or Suggestion.
Yeah, of course. You can add those at any time. Very similar to you, Gary. Last year I was learning Auslan, it's Australian Sign Language, which is very similar, or it's got a lot of its history. It's rooted in British Sign Language, so I think it's like very similar, or maybe even the same alphabet. Some signs are very similar, which I'd like to get back into and do a bit more of that next year. A bit more Auslan, and yeah, I learnt a lot of Italian at school, so I could comfortably tourist in Italy.
That's good.
I reckon it'd be a lot of like, I would say, hello, can I have that? And beyond that, I'd be like, I'm so sorry, you speak English? And they'd be like, oh yes, and I figured you would need me too.
Yeah.
Pleasey.
Yeah.
I remember, being in a few different places and people being like, maybe in France, who were like, I'll speak English.
Yeah, I remember sitting down at a place in Amsterdam with my friend I was travelling with, and they just brought out Australian English menus.
It said, "G'day."
G'day.
What do you want, cobber?
Just immediately, like, we just sat down. He hadn't said anything to us. He brought English menus, and we're like, "How'd you know?" And he's like, "Please." I'm like, "Okay."
He said, "Want to get a dingo up ya?"
Yeah, I said, just a couple of Forsters, thanks. Dave.
I would love to learn French because my partner speaks French and I feel
Left out.
Left out.
You talking about
Yeah.
Poirot?
And Poirot, yes, my hero Poirot.
The Belgians speak French?
Some do.
Right. And is that what's the go there in Belgium?
Others speak Flemish.
Flemish. It's a beautiful name. Is there a Flemish tart? It feels like there probably is.
Sounds right.
Doesn't that sound like something?
That's a thing, isn't it?
Surely that's a thing. Surely. If not, why not?
Why not? Let's make one.
I think I did 4 years of Italian in high school, did 2 years of Mandarin in primary school.
Oh, yep.
A couple of years of Indonesian in high school.
Yeah.
And I've retained very little of all of those.
It's like, but it's at that formative time where you surprise yourself. I remember being in Italy and somebody asking me a question and I knew what they meant.
Oh, cool.
But if you'd asked me here, how do you say that? I'd go, I have no idea.
Right. definitely have like counting to 10. I think I could do in those, but how handy's that? I guess but I think just being good at any of those would be great.
Yeah.
I'd love to get to, casual speaking
For sure.
levels at least.
And sign language is a great one. Like it's a really handy thing to know, and definitely makes somebody's day if you can communicate with them. And also, like, if you know the alphabet, you can get your way through anything.
Yeah, right.
Just spell it out.
Yeah.
If you have to. It's not ideal.
First you have to learn the sign for uno momento.
Yeah.
And then a little patience, please.
Please. Yeah, cool. That's a good question.
Belgium has 4 linguistic areas: the French-speaking area, the Dutch-speaking area, the bilingual area of Brussels, the capital, and the German-speaking area.
Oh, there you
And
go.
there's a Flemish Dutch as well.
Cool.
And Flemish tarts, Dave?
Oh, I'm wondering.
Really thought that's what you were passionately Googling over there, but instead you're like, oh, languages, relevant to the question.
Flemish sugar tart recipe by... Oh, I thought it said your name. It says Martha Stewart. Close.
That is my name. Wait, what did you think my name
You
was?
thought Matt Stewart had a very successful cooking blog?
And a stint in prison.
Guess how long it's going to
Very
take...
successful stint in prison.
Guess how long it's going to take you to make a Flemish sugar tart?
How long? Couple of minutes?
4 hours, 5 minutes.
Oh.
Easy. Dave, a lot of that's just in the oven. It's
No.
like saying, you know how long it's going to take you to make a cake? Couple of hours. Well, it's doing a lot of the... It's in the oven and then it's cooling.
Well, you could do a Steven Seagal on Under Siege 2 and despite being a cook, just put it in the microwave for 15 minutes. And he goes, and that's how you bake a cake.
And then someone jumps out of it? No, that's the first film.
That's number 1. Yeah, they love cake in that movie.
Jesus, very, very cakeish motif.
Yes.
But anyway, that brings us to everyone's favourite section of the show still, where we thank a few more of our supporters. Bob, you normally come up with a game linked to the topic at hand.
Yeah, we either give them a mascot or like
a badger or
Yeah.
a kangaroo, a live kangaroo.
like a sporting nickname, like the kicking kangaroo.
Oh, what do you reckon?
I don't know. What's better?
I reckon sporting nickname's
Sporting
fun.
nickname.
Alliterative sporting nickname.
Yeah, preferably.
An adjective or whatever and
An adjective,
and an animal.
a whatever, and an animal.
No, just is kicking an adjective? No, it's a verb. No. Oh, I regret bringing this up. Dave, you read books.
Well, kick, that's a verb, but kicking.
Yes.
It is
but a
describing
kicking kangaroo
something.
is an
Yeah,
adjective.
that's right.
Thank you. Should never doubt myself.
Never ever, Matt. Look at me. Don't you doubt yourself.
Ooh.
Don't do it.
Ooh. All right. So first up, from address unknown. Can only assume deep within the fortress
So,
of the moles.
Already know what animal this is.
Yes. It is Jake B. Bush.
The mouldy mole.
Oh, the moldy mole. Jake B. Moldy.
Jake be mouldy mole.
Moldy mole. That's fun.
Moldy?
Moldy.
Or should it be something else?
Mellow mole.
The mellow mole. Not a very good mascot, to be honest. Oh wait, it's not a mascot. This is the This is it. Okay, so yeah,
Nickname.
he's a very like chilled, relaxed player.
Yeah. Yeah, but
Effective.
white line fever.
Oh yeah, big time.
Doesn't matter. I think we're up to 320. Is that right? No, we're up to 321.
321. Thank you so
Ron.
much.
You were correct.
Hey Dave, you're a dumb shit.
Thank you very much, Jake. I'd also love to thank from Nepean in Ontario, Canada, Tara.
Tara, the something tiger.
Ooh.
Titillating.
Titillating tiger.
Now,
Hard
what
to
does
say.
titillating mean? It's exciting.
Exciting, yeah.
Yes.
And
Titillating
so
tiger.
Tara is just like a very exciting player to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's
you
cool.
know, like you never quite know what Tara's going to do.
And it's a real challenge for the cheerleaders
Yeah,
to get it in. Titillating tiger.
yeah.
T, rah, rah.
There you
that
go,
sort of
done.
stuff.
They fucking nailed it.
Titillating tiger.
That was actually really easy. Dave's been watching Bring It On.
I
and
love
it's
it.
working.
And finally from me, from Stratford upon Avon, I believe, is that the deep within the fortress of Shakespeare?
Yeah, the Shakespearean mole.
In Warwickshire, Great Britain. It's Dominic Hood.
Dominic Hood.
Dominic Hood.
What's a hooded
Fox.
animal? Oh, yeah.
I'm
the
thinking
hooded
of-
fox.
No, I'm thinking of the animated Robin Hood.
Oh, great.
Oh.
Who was a
Fantastic.
fox?
Yes.
Fox.
Oh, in both
Oh my God.
meanings of the word.
Oh, that fox could get it.
Filthy fox.
The filthy
Filthy
fox is a
fox.
dirty player.
Dirty-
Dominic the Filthy Fox Hood.
Oh, I like that a
Yeah,
lot.
You send, like, if you need the job done, no matter what,
Yes.
send in the filthy fox.
Love that.
Dominic the Dominator Filthy Fox Hood.
Rah, rah.
Jess, you want to thank a few?
Absolutely, I do. I got a bit scared then. You called me Jess, and I was like,
Oops.
oh, I'm in trouble.
Jessica,
Oh, no.
please.
I would love to thank from St Kilda in Victoria, Alex.
Oh, fun fact about St Kilda.
What's that?
They won their one and only premiership in 1966.
Oh, well, soon they'll win number 2.
Yeah, I believe it's coming
Very
up.
soon.
A great draft haul this year. Really exciting crop of young players.
I would say that's going to happen in the next 60 years.
Yeah, wait. Oh, I will not be alive for that. But I would. Oh, maybe I can hang on. But
You might.
I could.
Oh, it would be pushing it.
I mean,
I
I've
don't
been
know
around
if
for
you'd
so long
if
now.
you'd really pay attention to the game.
Yeah. What's that? Like we were talking about before, I do somehow get that old man voice. Say what then?
What's that you got there, dear?
No, I think women belong here.
I think women should stay at home. Anyway, I would love to thank from St Kilda, Alex Waybury.
Oh, Waybury sounds like it could be a tart. Waybury tart.
Yum. That sounded sarcastic. I meant that. Yum.
What about the tarty toad?
Oh, the tarty toad.
A slutty little
The
toad.
tarty toad. I meant more tart-like, as in baked
Slutty.
good-like.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
delicious.
Yes, delicious toad.
Yeah, sort of nuggety, I guess. A pie, you could
Sugary,
sugary,
Yeah.
sweet.
sweet like
Sweet
a
is a
tart.
bit more positive.
Tarty toad.
That's nice.
Tarty toad.
I like that a lot. And I would also love to thank from Toowong in Queensland, Hannah.
Hannah. Ooh. Hannah, the hell-raising hermit hound.
The hermit hound. That's good. The hell-raising hermit hound.
Oh, Triple H they call her.
Yeah, Triple H.
Oh.
That's a new thing that's a new sporting name that is untaken so far. Dave, wrestling man, is that
That's
right?
right, Triple H. Hunter Helmsley. I can't remember what the other H is for.
Oh, there is another Triple H.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
well then what I
disappointing.
said isn't relevant at all.
And finally for me, I would love to thank from Egan in, I want to say, Minnesota.
Minnesota?
MN?
MN, Dave? That feels right.
That feels so right.
There's so many M states
I
though.
know.
Can you ever be sure?
And I keep doubting myself, but lately I've been better because we have a lot of American supporters. And so, anyway, back yourself, Jess.
Back yourself. It is Minnesota,
It's Minnesota,
Jess.
and that is where Sophie Morris is from. Thank you, Sophie. Okay, Sophie, what kind of vibe am I getting from you? Maybe like an eel?
Oh, yeah. Electrifying eel.
Yes.
That's a pretty good nickname.
That's great. She's like slick, can't quite catch
Yeah,
it.
can't grab it.
Yes.
Runs through with the ball.
Untackleable.
Yeah, that's good. That's what
Maybe
you want to be.
Yeah, running back
Yeah.
who just weaves through the field.
She's a gymnast.
Oh, Jim. Yeah, I was in my head. They're
Can't
all
get your hairs on her.
American footballers,
No,
but
they
no.
could be anything they want to be.
People are trying to tackle her as she runs towards the pommel horse, and they can't grab her.
Which is the gymnast's red zone, really, isn't it?
I'd like to thank a few people. I'd like to thank from Nepean in Ontario in Canada.
Another one.
Big thank you to Sam.
Oh, Sam and Tara from the
Yeah,
same
what are
place.
the odds of that? Two Nepeaners.
And only giving us
Nepeanists.
first names.
First name. Do you know each other?
If you don't, you should.
Okay, I'm getting I'm getting a zebra vibe.
Ooh.
Oh, zany.
Zany zebra.
The zany.
Or
That's
zany
good.
zebra.
That's
Oh,
good.
Yes. Hey, because they're like, what's a zebra?
ZZ Sam.
Yeah. Comes out on top.
On your double Z.
That's real
Puts
good.
the other players to sleep. Hey, I would like to thank now from Rotherham in Great Britain, Thomas Hill.
Thomas Hill.
Is that a Rotherham tart?
Oh,
Surely.
gotta be.
They feel like they've got a tart for everything.
Yeah, for every occasion, for every city. We should
You
do
know-
a tart crawl one day.
That'd be
Oh my
great.
god. Yum.
I can't move. I've had 84 tarts.
I love Wombat as a name. I think it's a great footballing thing. They can go real fast, and they're
Yep.
nuggets, and they can just plow through. So what's a
Whistling wombat.
the whistling
Oh,
wombat?
that's good. That's real good.
You hear
Just
him
so
coming.
nonchalant.
You hear that wombat coming.
Bang!
No, hey, ain't nothing to me.
Yeah. Oh, what's up? Just a little wombat.
Just whistle while I work.
Just a cute little wombat. I'm going to fuck you up.
Thomas the Whistling Wombat Hill.
That's really
Big
good.
fan of that.
Well done.
And finally, I'd like to thank from Camberwell here in Victoria, Emmy Nottle.
Oh,
Emmy,
fantastic
already
name.
amazing.
Yeah.
Then Nottle. Fucking hell, Emmy, that's so good.
yeah, something Emmy. I mean the award, the Emmy Award. Is
Yeah.
there any animal related to the Emmys, Dave?
I'm trying to think of an Emmy.
Is there any, like what's that? What was a famous TV or movie?
Red dog.
Animal. Red dog. Red dog.
Probably not Emmys, but should have been.
Is Emmys TV and movies?
Yeah, what about
that's Golden Globes.
Mr. Ed?
Oh, Mr. Ed. So the
Horse.
horny horse.
I was going to say humping horse.
Humping horse.
The horny humping horse.
The horny at Triple H.
Emmy.
Oh, that could be the other nickname, the Triple H, because
The
I don't
horny
think
humping horse.
that hasn't come
That
up
hasn't
yet.
come up,
No.
so.
Emmy, how do you feel about that?
Do you like that, Emmy?
You could just go the horse if you wanted to. 'Cause
Yeah.
That sounds badass. The horse.
She sounds like she has a big dick.
Yeah, the Sydney coach in the AFL's nickname's Horse.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why?
Long face, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Sad.
I assume big dick, but
Licks a lot of salt.
do not know for sure. I'm sure he's got a more G-rated backstory for it.
Doubtful.
Hey, I'd like to thank one more time Emmy, Thomas, Sam, Sophie, Hannah, Alex, Dominic, Tara, and Jake B. Bush.
Well, that brings us to the final section of our great supporter shout-out section, which is where we thank a few of our long-term supporters who we're welcoming into the Triptych Club. It's just the 2 inductees this week. The way this works is we've got a club set up. It's a beautiful space. It's in your mind, but it's in our hearts as well. And I'm standing on the door, got the velvet rope. I'm going to read out your name. I'm holding the clipboard. Welcome you in. Dave's the hype man. He's standing on the stage. Everyone who's already inducted is standing around cheering you on. Rah, 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 that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Jess is up on the stage with Dave, just keeping him feeling good because he's your hype man tonight.
Thank you so much.
Jess is Dave's hype. What would you refer to yourself as? The hypey?
I want to be a hype man.
Hype man? Just hype, other hype.
I think hype man has no gender.
Backup hype man.
I'm deciding
But
now.
you can be a hype man for just one person, I guess.
Of course you can.
You're probably more of a hype man than Dave is. Dave's more like a MC and you're the hype man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
So another thing that happens is Dave normally books a band.
You're never going to believe it.
Oh my God. What's
Obviously,
happened?
I booked this one 9-10 months ago, looking back at the emails, and we are going to have an acoustic set from the Steve Miller Band.
What?
Get out.
Can you believe that? It's like
Take your money and
Wow.
run.
going to be so good.
Hey, what is he going to get on a big jet airliner?
Yeah, exactly. Playing all the hits.
Dave, this is crazy. Like, at some point, it's like you've got this you're on such a hot streak
I know.
that at some point, like, it's got to end, right?
Yeah.
Like, how can you possibly maintain this?
I honestly, I don't know.
Wow.
But-
Just incredible.
But while it's happening, it's so good.
Absolutely.
Jess, have you got a Kangaroo Kicker cocktail for guests tonight?
Absolutely. The kicker is cocaine.
So it's sort of like a classic lip sip suck, but it's more of a snort sip suck.
No, it's just in the drink.
Oh,
it's in a
yeah,
cocktail.
okay.
So I do have to limit it to one per person.
So it's more like instead of a Jaeger bomb, it's more like a cocaine bomb.
Correct.
It's kind of like the original Coca-Cola.
Yes, that's right. But it's like a fun fruity cocktail. It's blue.
Fruit tingle.
Yeah, it's like it's blue.
Oh, blue.
Like
Does it have blue
crack.
cocoa? I'll put the crack in. No, anyway.
Yeah, and also like the food that we have is like it's like an Australian but infused with American food because as an homage.
So instead of it's like a turducken, but the duck is actually a duck-billed platypus stuffed inside a turkey. That sort of thing?
Nah, I just meant we had like like Jats and cheese, and then also like
Oh, yeah.
so like American barbecue kind of
Yeah.
thing.
I'm just putting the
I'm
cloche
not-
back down over my...
I did not
So,
approve
forget what...
a
don't...
platypus
No,
Sorry,
just-
being
sorry.
shoved inside a turkey.
Sorry, yeah, don't look up, don't worry about...
Matt, what's in that cloche?
No, don't worry about that cloche.
I have-
Nothing's there.
I've truly misunderstood the MasterChef challenge.
So just 2 inductees this week. Are you ready, Dave, to hype them up?
Let's do this.
Let's go, Davey.
Lift that rope.
From Perth in Western Australia, it's Zeke.
Zeke, feeling cheeky.
Yes, you cheeky boy.
And from West Hollywood in California in the United States, it's Tess Ornstein or Ornstein.
Tess Ornstein, feeling Hornstein.
Yes.
All right.
For friendship.
Or Tess is best.
Yeah.
If you prefer the
Even
PG version.
better.
Yeah, both good.
Welcome in, Tess and Zeke. So good to have you. So to be in the Triptych Club, you've just got to be signed up on the shout-out level or above for 3 straight years, and you get in and you get to have some Coke, apparently.
Yeah.
And I don't...
Only if you want it. There's no pressure.
It's open bar
No
as well,
pressure.
isn't it?
I can make it without the Coke. I can make it without the alcohol.
Yeah.
Like, it's up to you, but like, it's the Kangaroo Kicker.
Yeah.
Like, what am I supposed
You
to
can
do?
have a virgin Kangaroo Kicker.
What am I supposed to do? Just put like a tiny little plastic kangaroo on the side of your drink, like it's a fucking garnish? No. We've been doing this for a long time, and I have to think of something different every time.
Exactly.
You give me something called Kicker, I've got to give it a kick, don't
Yeah.
I? Oh yeah, I could put some Tabasco in it. Get the fuck out, Bloody Mary. No.
And that brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much for joining us for another week. Yeah, is there anything else we need to say before we go, Bopper?
Just that you can find us on social media at Do Go On Pod. You can email us at dogoonpod@gmail.com. Check out our website, dogoonpod.com. And, be sure to bloody tune in.
That's great. Tell your friends if you want to.
Oh, my God. Do you know what you
support
should
us
do,
in all sorts of
actually?
ways, really.
Tell your friends.
Yeah.
Not too much, so then they're, like, not listening out of protest. Just make it, like, real cash and cool. Just be like, as you're meeting a friend for coffee, just sort of have your earphones in and just be like, oh, hey, good to see you. Sorry, I was just listening to a great podcast. It's that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Guerrilla marketing is what we're after.
And then, of course, warn them, yes, it will be tedious at first.
Yes.
But you'll get used to them.
Yeah, you do. At first you're like, the fuck?
These
But
guys
then-
are a bit much.
But then you understand that we're obvious friends.
Yes.
We'll win you over with our tedium. And I believe next week we'll be back with our annual Christmas special.
So excited.
Obviously, I think this is now maybe our 7th annual Christmas episode.
So good.
So if you want to do the run-up this week and
That's
listen to all
wild.
the Christmas episodes, we've got one for every day of the week now.
I love it. The
I
7 days of Christmas. My true love
couldn't-
gave to me.
I couldn't name
A week of podcasts.
like 2 of them. Maybe I'll go back and listen.
Christmas Time Mysteries Part 1.
Yes.
Christmas Time Mysteries Part 2.
Okay.
Krampus.
Krampus, Santa Claus, the origin story.
We did a 3-part one in London one time where we talked about Michael Bublé and the
yes.
Stone of Scone heist.
And I did one about a town called
Christmas?
Santa or Christmas or something.
Yes, that's right. And I did one on the eggnog riot.
That's
Oh, that was another one in London.
Yeah. We've done 2 London
And I talked
Christmas
about
shows.
Die Hard.
Yes, that's right. Okay, now I remember.
And did I talk about the Westminster thing
Yeah.
or something like that? It's all coming back to me now. Bloody hell, I feel like Celine Dion or whoever sang that song.
Anyway, thanks so much for listening. Dave, boot it home, please.
We'll be back next week with a Christmas special, but until then, thank you so much and goodbye.
Later.
Bye.